that way for the clubs. The field, right? There's some question
for football. You wanted it just a little bit on the cool side.
Yeah, just a tiny bit. It's probably better that way for the clubs. The field, right? There's some question about it. There was a concert held here about a week ago, and
we could say it. It was a U2 concert.
Right.
They sold it out for 2 nights.
They did 2 nights in a row, but it had some effect on the field. Some of the players felt that it was a little beaten up, but the weather was dry all week, and that's helped the field this afternoon.
And the reason that I can say we can say it because I had to ask you what a U2 concert was. Here's Chris Drennan to kick off for Nebraska, and the deep backs on the return for Florida State. Number 13 is Dexter Carter. Number 20, Keith Ross.
And number 20, Ross.
The referee, Wendell Shelton. High spinning short. It is dropped to scramble and then picked up by Dane Williams. The ball pops loose, but the play had been blown dead. It will be Florida State's ball, as Marion Butts was there for the Seminoles in a semi-bizarre start,
stay behind the clock,
as Doug Welniak makes the stop for Nebraska, and will look now at the Florida State offense from their own 24-yard line. McManus, Williams, Smith, Lewis, Gaynor, and the tight end is Pat Carter. Ionata, Yeomans, Salva, Kuipers, Tomberlin, the offensive line for Florida State. So Florida State goes to work from the 24-yard line. They fake the reverse. And Sammy Smith to the 34-yard line, close to the first down before Jeff Tomjack makes the tackle.
Charlie, Bobby Bowden wants Nebraska to think about what they're going to do. They used to use a lot of these gimmicks. This year they've got a lot more ability, a lot more talent, so they don't run the reverses as much as they used to. But that has been the book on them. There he fakes the receiver coming around, and Sammy Smith with a great power and speed gets a big first down. Florida State begins up on top.
Just shy of the first down, so mark it second down and 1. Will pick up the first down to the 35-yard line. Jeff Jamrock makes a tackle. Let's look at that defense with Thomas Smith, Pete, Tim Rother, and Jeff Jamrock. Linebackers Forch and Etienne, and you'll see them in action. Hicks, Fryer, Blazik, and Washington scheduled to start. However, now Jeff Tomjack and Marvin Sanders are in the defense for Nebraska, and a change in that offensive line for Florida State is John Brown is now starting at the strong side guard. And it is a first down just short of the 35-yard line. Ball game just underway here in Tempe, Arizona, the 17th edition of the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl here at Sun Devil Stadium, which will hold just over 70,000 and a sellout crowd. A formation to pass from, but instead it's a draw to Smith. The Seminoles have shown this before. A gain of a yard to the 36. It'll be second down and 9 as Neil Smith makes the tackle. Normally with split backs that wide, you expect a pass, but they'll run off of it.
Well,
they want that defense to think a lot, don't they?
They run out of the pro set all the time, Charlie. In fact, doing a game like this and doing a pro game for us as broadcasters, Florida State takes on the look of a professional football team. They run the split back set. What they want to do is draw quite a bit and run the screen to keep the great pass rush of Nebraska away from quarterback Danny McManus.
Sammy Smith and Dane Williams are the running backs. Play action fake. McManus throws left to the 40. The 45 has the first down and out of bounds at the 43-yard line of Nebraska. 21 yards on the carry.
Charlie, let's take a look at it from the other side. McManus had an option here. He could throw the ball to Ronald Lewis downfield or to number 85, the tight end Pat Carter. A nice fake going to Williams. And here he's got the option. Watch the block coming up of Ronald Lewis, number 7. There it is right there at the bottom of your screen. It allows McManus to get an extra 5 yards.
And a first down for Florida State at the Nebraska 43. Danny McManus, the senior, 6'1", 199 pounds. And at the luncheon, This week, he was a spokesman for the team. The luncheon, 5,000 people there for the kickoff luncheon. One of the traditions here at the Sunkist Fiesta. This is a screen. Good defensive play as Dane Williams is dropped as the 50. Fumble, and it is recovered by Nebraska. Jeff Tomjack. Neil Smith, number 99, was there.
Charlie, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to see a lot of draws. We're going to see a lot of screens. They're hoping that people like Broderick Thomas, number 89, will go to the quarterback. But watch, he's got the great speed. He did get inside, but had enough ability to come back and get in on the play. A clear fumble on the part of Dane Williams, number 49. Nebraska has it back.
Jeff Tomjack recovers at the 50-yard line. Nebraska's first opportunity on offense. We have no score. Keith Jones, the I-back. A couple of yards to the 48-yard line. It'll be second down and 8. Marvin Mayhew makes the tackle offensively for the Cornhuskers. Taylor, Heibel, Jones, Bell, Gregory, and Tom Banderas is the tight end. Sledge, Keeler, Young, McCormick, and Leitner the offensive line for Nebraska. Second down and 8. 12 minutes, 16 seconds, time remaining, first quarter, no score here at the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl. The give to the first back through, that's Micah Heibel, the senior from Lincoln, Nebraska, and he has a couple of yards to the 46. So it will be third down and 6. Hayes, Higgins, Gabbard, the defensive line with Thompson, McGowan, Palmer, and Warren, the 4 linebackers for the Seminoles. Sanders, Mayhew, Shiver, and Newell in the secondary. Third down and 6 is Haggins is assisted off, shaken up just a little bit on the play. El Shahawi. Magdi El Shahawi replaces him. Play action fake by Taylor. All the time in the world. Throws. Incomplete. He was going to Morgan Gregory. And it is incomplete. Martin Mayhew had the coverage.
Let's take a look at the throwing motion of Steve Taylor. People sometimes think that he's just an option quarterback, but he does have the ability to throw the football. Play action fake, that's the way you'll see Nebraska do it most of the afternoon. Take a look at his feet. He's flat-footed. One of the problems he's had, he's not up on his toes. One of the problems he has as a quarterback, he's not up on his toes delivering the football, Charlie. Because of that, his motion throws a rainbow pass. You watch McManus later on, you'll find him up on his throws, delivering the ball much quicker.
John Croker kicking, fourth down and 6. Deion Sanders, the return man. He stays away from it. It will be down at about the 7-yard line. So Croker just wanted to pop it up for about 40 yards, and he got 39 on it. We've got a timeout. We have no score. We'll be back in just a moment. The Sunkist Fiesta Bowl. The 1988 Sunkist Fiesta Bowl is brought to you by the Sunkist family of products, where you can be sure of the highest quality every time. You have our word on it. By American Airlines, something special in the air. By Alamo Rent-A-Car. There are over 4 million miles of roads in America, and with Alamo, all the miles are free. And by Dean Witter. We'll help manage your investments based on your individual needs. Here in Tempe, Arizona, the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl, we have 11 minutes and 14 seconds. Time remaining in the first quarter. We have no score. Florida State on offense from their own 7-yard line. Edgar Bennett is now in at fullback. And Sammy Smith gets the call. They will mark his progress to the 10. It will go for 3, so it'll be second down and 7 as Lawrence Pete, the middle guard, makes the stop at that point. In case you just joined us, on their first possession, Florida State moved the ball and then lost it on a fumble at the 50-yard line that was recovered by Jeff Tomjack. And for Nebraska, it was 3 and out. 3 tries and then the punt. So on the early returns, the offense looks as if it belongs to the Seminoles. McManus goes deep, and it is incomplete. Ronald Lewis, the intended receiver, the sophomore from Jacksonville.
Charlie, when I was telling you the difference between McManus and Taylor, take a look at the feet of Danny McManus. He'll be up on his toes when he throws the ball. That gives him a much quicker release. He's able to get much more emphasis on the football. See him up on his toes when he's throwing it, a perfect motion. He did not have the receiver open downfield, but he does have a quick release because he has good feet.
Is he on his toes because he's only 6'1" and he can look over the lineman?
That's one of his problems. He really doesn't have the great eyes for a quarterback.
Here's the draw. Sammy Smith stopped at the 10. It will be 4th down and 7. Jeff Jamrog makes the tackle. So Richard Bell and Dana Brinson set to return the punt of Rick Tootin near the midfield stride. Tootin with a 38.9-yard average. Taken at the 45-yard line by Bell to the 40, to the 30. Inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Richard Bell with a 27-yard punt return. Kevin Grant brings him down. And the Huskers have field position with 9:50 left to go. We're in the first quarter. We have no scores. We take another look.
Richard Bell, they thought they had some problems because Rod Smith, number 88, is gone with an injury, but he takes the middle return right up the gut, and Florida State is caught napping.
Officially the 19-yard line. Here's Taylor on the option. The pitch is to Jones. He loses it, but out of bounds. He had last possession. As you can, Deion Sanders, the cornerback, the All-America who made the play, he's really keyed up. He's ready. He
really is. Charlie, the key to Steve Taylor, they can't let him control the football. They want to make him pitch it every time, and they do there. Forced him into the bad pitch. Deion Sanders makes the right move. He goes after the player, hoping someone else would come by and pick up the fumble.
A loss of 2, 2nd and 12. There's the late pitch to Jones. And he's out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. And Steve Taylor waited as long as he possibly could. A gain of 17 yards.
Trey, the last time that these two teams played, Taylor rushed for 140 yards. They promised they wouldn't let him do it again. But he makes the good move, getting outside away from the first offender and gets it into the hands of Keith Jones. There it is. They should have gotten to him immediately, but they allowed him to the perimeter. And once Taylor breaks the perimeter, he's in a position to toss it back to Jones.
3-yard line, first down goal to go. A double tight end on the set. Here's Jones, scores. Who scored 13 touchdowns during the season, opens the scoring here at the Fiesta Bowl. Blakeman to hold Chris Drennan to attempt the extra point. The snapper is Jeff Anderson, and he splits it.
And the kick is good by number 16.
It's Nebraska 7 and Florida State nothing. We'll be back with a kickoff in just a moment.
Including 130 miles, called the Florida Keys.
Take a look at Paul McGowan, number 38, the Butkus Award winner, the linebacker right in your screen. Watch him go over the top. No, I'm sorry, it's not him. It's tough to get that number, but somebody dove over the top. Happened to miss Keith Jones, however. He gets in for the score. This is what set it up. The option play on the part of Taylor. They don't get to him quick enough. That's Stan Shiver, number 37, who misses. That allows Keith Jones to get in close. Charlie, they've got to get to Steve Taylor with either the linebacker Shelton Thompson or with Stan Shiver, the strong safety. They can't let him run the perimeter.
Drennan kicking off. This one goes deep. And it is Dexter Carter from the 1. Dexter to the 20. Slips into the tackle, the 25, the 30. Breaks another one to the 40, to the 43-yard line. 42 yards on the return. Drennan, the kicker, along with Reggie Cooper, make the tackle. Dexter Carter, 5'9", 159-pound sophomore.
Charlie, take a look at it from the other side. There's nothing to this except for the ability of Dexter Carter. There's no hole there. Watch all the red jerseys. They form the gap. He gets to the outside finally. Then it's all on his own, just twisting and diving. But there was not much of a hole for Carter to get through. That's simply individual effort.
And in addition, a face mask brought him down, and they're going to tack that on to the end of the play.
Oh, yeah, there it is, coming in from the side.
Now, that's Chris Drennan, the kicker. So the ball is at the 48-yard line. And a first down for Florida State on their own 48. 9:18 left to go first quarter. Nebraska leads 7-0. Pat Carter, the tight end, going in motion. He operates like an H-back. Pump fake pass back underneath to Dane Williams is incomplete. It'll be second down and 10. It was Lawrence Pete who was putting the pressure on in the Citrus Bowl. Clemson 14, Penn State 7 at the half. Speaking of Penn State, of course, last year here it was Miami against Penn State. Your alma mater. Bob Greasy joined us. He, of course, lived in Miami, but although he played at Purdue. What I'm leading to is the mail that we got, and the mail that we will get after this one, and I will come back to that story after this play. It's always interesting. The mail that we received after the College Bowls, more fun than anything else that goes on. Dexter Carter. They'll spot the ball at the 48-yard line of Nebraska. It's going to be third down and 6, and we'll take another look at it. Jeff Jamrock.
Charlie, interestingly enough, they're going to the left side of their offensive line. That's away from their strength, but they're trying to run away from Neil Smith and from Broderick Thomas, a pair of all Big 8 performers. Smith comes from his other side, number 99, with the big hit there, but he had to pursue from the other side of the line of scrimmage. One of the keys for this afternoon's game is going to find out, does Florida State have enough ability and strength with their offensive line to deal with Neil Smith and Broderick Thomas on the right?
Third down and 6, we've got a flag. We had some quick jumping. Swing pass left side to Williams. He'll lose about 6, but Nebraska may have jumped as the flag was dropped. Charles Fryer, bruised thigh and all, starting at defensive right cornerback, is the man who made the tackle. Neil Smith may have jumped. That's Wendell Shelton, the referee, the officiating crew from the Southwest Conference.
Defense offside at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
That is Neil Smith, the All-America from New Orleans. 6'5", a 260-pound senior. So it'll be a third down and 1.
Charlie, when he came to school at Nebraska, he only weighed about 215 pounds and ran a 5-flat 40-yard dash. He's now 260 pounds and he runs a 4.6. That tells you something about the strength and conditioning program Nebraska has. It's the best in the country.
Best in the country. All the other coaches, college coaches, go there to copy it. First back through, Dane Williams going for the first down, had a couple of yards, and he gets it at the 41-yard line. So Florida State has a first down. They trail as Nebraska leads 7-0. Keith Jones scoring from 3 yards out, the only score in the ball game. Neil Smith comes back to make the tackle here. In the Cotton Bowl in the first quarter, Notre Dame leading Texas A&M by a score of 7-0. Back to the letters. Well, we'll get letters from Nebraska. Half of them will say that we were for Florida State. The other half will say we did a nice ball game. We'll get letters from Florida State. Half of them will say that we were for Nebraska, and the other half will say that we did a pretty good ball game. Pass a little bit low from Danny McManus. Terry Anthony, the intended, was it Terry Anthony? No, it was Pat Carter. So it'll be second down and 10.
Charlie Carter in motion coming across the formation, a big target, an All-American prospect. Inside, there's really nothing to go to. It's trying to find a spot in the open zone, but Jackson, number 4, as you see, had him corralled pretty well. The quick release of Danny McManus was not enough to complete it in between a strong zone by Nebraska.
Only 1 of 4 from -7 yards. Anthony, O'Malley, and Dawsey all now in as receivers. And here's the draw. Broderick Thomas was waiting for Dexter Carter.
Charlie, this is the 4th draw we've seen so far this afternoon by Florida State. They're trying to keep Nebraska away from Danny McManus by doing it. However, they're running it so often that, as you said, it seemed that Broderick Thomas was just waiting there for it to happen. They're looking for the draw and for the screen, but that, in a sense, will do what Florida State wants. It'll keep them from that strong upfield rush that's so successful.
Oh, wait a minute, Dexter. When you turn around and he's 6'3", 235, you think thing's over.
That's right.
The loss of a yard is 3rd down and 11. And McManus, this is a screen over the middle, a center screen to Pat Carter, 31-yard line. This is close to the first down. Tim Jackson makes a tackle. A middle screen is the correct call of that particular play.
Troy, what they were trying to do was set up a screen actually to Dexter Carter on the right-hand side. They sent a couple of linemen that way, and then this is a design play. He comes back after he looks to Carter and finds his outlet, which is Pat Carter, who was not supposed to get to the football, was supposed to go to the other side to the halfback, Dexter Carter.
It is 4th down, about a half a yard to go at the 31-yard line. And you're in 4-down territory here. Double tight end set. Fake, pass, complete. Inside the 20-yard line. Edgar Bennett picks up 15 yards. Tim Jackson with the tackle, as the Seminoles open up the complete playbook here in the first quarter.
Charlie, Florida State has been successful all year on 4th down situations with the running game. And you can bet Nebraska knows that from looking at the film this time. Edgar Bennett sneaks out after the ball is faked to him. Gets plenty enough for the first down.
18-yard line, first down. 5:50 time remaining first quarter. Nebraska leading 7-0 on a 19-yard drive in 3 plays that was set up with a punt return. McManus with pressure. Intercepted at the 1-yard line by Brian Washington. Washington to the 35, to the 40. No, he's out of bounds. He's out of bounds at the 36-yard line.
McManus has only been sacked 1 time all year, but that's a problem when you're playing Nebraska because they got the strength and the ability to get to the quarterback. It forced him to release the ball earlier than he wanted to, and as you can see, within the zone, he had no chance to get it to the wide receiver. We'll be back.
The best and brightest of the bowls are on NBC as Michigan's all-time leading rusher Jamie Morris leads the Wolverines against the Crimson Tide of Alabama and All-American Bobby Humphrey. Michigan battles Alabama at the Hall of Fame Bowl. Saturday, college football's best and brightest are on NBC.
Watch McManus force this ball. He gets pressure from Neil Smith, and he tries to throw it within the zone. But look at this. There's no room there. He should have thrown the football out of bounds. And now the nice run by Washington. He steps out of bounds somewhere down the line. But if not for Dexter Carter, number 13, he may have gone into the end zone.
Nebraska leading 7-0. Florida State has turned it over twice. Fumble recovery and an interception. And here's Keith Jones. Defense springs him out, and he'll pick up 4 to the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd down 6 as we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
WAFF 48, Huntsville, Decatur, Quad Cities.
This is Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cefalo. Tempe, Arizona, just over 5 minutes to go with a 1988 Sunkist Fiesta Bowl. Nebraska, the first quarter, leading Florida State by a score of 7-0. And Nebraska has the ball at their own 40-yard line, 2nd down. Keith Jones. Jones almost breaks this one as he goes out of bounds in the neighborhood of the 50-yard line. They'll mark it the 50-yard line. And he has the first down. Greg Newell, the free safety, is the man who took him out of bounds.
Charlie, take a look and see how far Keith Jones is away from the line of scrimmage. About 7 or 8 yards. The reason being he has a lot of opportunity to watch the blocking form in front of him. I-backs from Nebraska continue with its lineup 7-8 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It sets up all that trap blocking that Nebraska likes to do.
The option and then a reverse. And Taylor scrambles for 5. 2nd down and 5. Steve Taylor from Lincoln High School in San Diego, where he broke all of the records, the high school records of Marcus Allen.
Sorry, once again, Florida State is trying to force Steve Taylor to pitch the football. They do a good job of it here. However, he reverses field. There's nothing you can do when someone has this kind of quick ability and quick feet. They did everything they could do defensively, forcing him to pitch the football, and he refused to do it.
Keith Jones. They marked at the 44-yard line, and there's no gain, so it remains at the 44. It'll be 3rd down and 4 yards to go as the leading tackler, the weak inside linebacker, All-America Paul McGowan, for Florida State, makes the stop. I mentioned Marcus Allen. Marcus, of course, played here the year that he won the Heisman Trophy for the University of Southern California. Did not play well. Really had a terrible game against Penn State. Penn State had a great ball game. After it, Marcus stayed on the field and talked with everybody. Television, radio, all the newspapers, did all the interviews. One of the true, really nice class acts that I have seen in college football. Here's Taylor. When he cuts upfield, he leans to the 42. That's 2, but he needed 4. So it's going to be 4th down and still a couple to go. And the kicking team will come in as we take another look.
Charlie, this is a design play. It's actually a quarterback sweep. You know, they fake the ball up into Jones. Nice block on the part of Keith Jones, number 6. But that is a design play. It's a sweep by the quarterback. Instead of using Jones, they use the same kind of a blocking formation, get the tailback up in there, and allow the quarterback to carry around the end.
Deion Sanders set to return the kick of John Croker. Pressure coming, and it was almost blocked. This one goes into the end zone for the touchback. 43 yards on the kick. It was Alan Stewart who was putting the pressure on. He almost got to the ball. We've got a timeout, and Nebraska has the lead, 7-0. Happy New Year, everybody. Do you believe in omens? But if you believe in omens, my media guide, my media credential, the number is 007.
You should have told
me. That may be a killer year.
You should have told me to bring mine. Mine is 13.
Oh, is it really?
No, I'm only kidding. I haven't looked, but I'll check it before long. I hope it's not number 13.
All right. But Happy New Year, everybody, and stay with us as we've got a dynamite opening here already here at the 17th Fiesta Bowl. We're going on to the Rose Bowl and then to the Orange Bowl and the battle for number 1. All on NBC here today. It's Nebraska 7 and Florida State nothing. The Seminoles of Florida State with a first down at their own 20-yard line. Sammy Smith gets the call and barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. Now let's go back to the punt of John Croker, and it was almost blind. Now watch, right in the middle, number 11. That's Alan Stewart, and he's a quarterback, Jimmy.
Right, exactly. Alan Stewart, it's Heibel, number 48, misses him completely, and Stewart had a direct shot at the punt. You can bet Nebraska will go back in to tell Heibel, number 48, he's got to block the outside man. If not, Florida State has blocked 6 punts this year. It's one of their strengths. They might get one this afternoon if that's not changed.
Alan Stewart is the number 4 quarterback playing on special teams. Here's the number 1 quarterback setting a screen. It is complete. Marion Botts. The swarming defense of Nebraska led by Neil Smith. Loss of 7. 3rd down and 18. Here's Neil Smith, the senior from New Orleans. 7.5 sacks during the regular season, 1 interception.
Charlie, in talking to some of the pro scouts, they feel Neil Smith is a number 1 draft choice. And I had a conversation with someone close to the New York Jet organization. Their priority this year will either be an offensive or a defensive tackle, and they like Neil Smith. He's very high on their priority list. He just may be in a uniform of the New York Jets next year.
You can't tell me who the person was in high places that you talked to.
I didn't say high places. I said someone who knew something about the Jet organization.
Wait, was it Leon Hess? He's in high places, though. He's the owner, if you didn't know. McMahon is going deep into coverage. Incomplete. Lawrence Dawsey, the intended receiver, the story thus far, the defense of Nebraska and their special teams. They've dominated with the exception of the opening drive by Florida State. So Rick Tootin will be punting. And Richard Bell and Dana Brinson again can give Nebraska excellent field position. And you will remember that it was Richard Bell on the 27-yard punt return that set up the first score. This is Brinson from the 48. He has an opening to the 35, the 30. He can do it. And he does it. The 5'9" junior from Valdosta, Georgia. The extra point attempt by Chris Drennan. It is good. And Nebraska leads 14-0.
The best and brightest of the bowls are on NBC. Next, the Pac-10 champion USC Trojans make their record 25th appearance to take on All-American Lorenzo White and the Big Ten champion Michigan State Spartans. It's the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. Next, college football's best and brightest are on NBC.
Chris Drennan will be kicking off with Dexter Carter and Keith Ross, the return men for the Seminoles. Florida State down 14-0. They're the return men. Sunny afternoon. The temperature now creeping up into the 50s. It's been cool this week, but very nice. From the 2-yard line is Dexter Carter. Carter pulled down at the 17, maybe the 18. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Charlie, 2 key blocks set it up for Brinson to go all the way into the end zone. The first one comes from Jeff Jamrock, number 80, right part of your screen. There it is. There, the second 37. That's Doug Welniak, opens up the hole, and Brinson with a great speed was not touched all the way into the end zone.
That is Brinson's second punt return for a touchdown. The first one was against Utah State, and that was good for 57 yards. This one, 52 yards. And we have an injury timeout on the field as one of the Nebraska players is being worked on. And that's Leroy Etienne, a strong side linebacker from New Iberia, Louisiana. And a key part of the Huskers defense.
He's their leading tackler, 75 tackles on the year. He's the man they want in the middle to show up. He's the strong side linebacker. An injury to Etienne would be devastating to Nebraska.
He's coming out now, of course, to save a timeout. If he stayed in, they would be charged with a timeout. So we'll check to see if he comes right back in. At the 18-yard line, Florida State, Tom Osborne, the head coach of Nebraska. Very quiet man, but he tore him apart at the luncheon this week. At the kickoff, he was hysterical. We'll tell you what he said. From the 18-yard line, play action fake by McManus. Complete at the 35 to the 40. Herb Gaynor to the 50-yard line. 32 yards. Randall Jobman with the tackle.
With all the pressure that Florida State has been getting, this is only a 2-man pattern. They've kept their running backs in to take care of Neil Smith and Broderick Thompson. But look, right across the middle, surprisingly, right in the middle of the zone, Herb Gaynor finds an open area. But the important part about that play, there are only 2 receivers downfield. They're keeping their running backs in to take care of the strong rush of Nebraska.
And Leroy Etienne back in on defense for Nebraska, and the pass is incomplete to Pat Carter, and Etienne had the coverage. It'll be second down and 10 at the 50-yard line. Tom Osborne congratulating at the luncheon Bobby Bowden and the Florida State Seminoles on their record of 10-1. He said it was, of course, an outstanding record, which it is, and he congratulated them. And he said, there's a score, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Well, we'll get the score, and I'll finish the story later. Clemson 14, Penn State 10. That's the score in the third quarter. I know you're dying to hear what Osborne said. McManus with a lot of time to throw underneath the coverage to Gaynor, as the defensive secondary was giving ground, and they'll mark it the 42-yard line. So it's good for 8. It'll be 3rd down and 2, as Steve Forts, the number 2 tackler for Nebraska, stops him. No, they'll mark it the 41-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and 1. Etienne, the defensive captain for Nebraska, as he looks to the sideline and gets the defensive signals that are being flashed in. And we're taking the countdown to the end of the first quarter. Close to the first down, to the 40-yard line, as Edgar Bennett, the freshman from Jacksonville, gets the call. Etienne makes the tackle as time runs out. First quarter is in the books. Nebraska 14 and Florida State nothing.
Hey, look at this.
Welcome back to the 17th Sunkist Fiesta Bowl, Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. We start the second quarter. Nebraska out in front of Florida State by a score of 14-0. Keith Jones, the first touchdown from 3 yards out, a 19-yard drive in 3 plays, set up by Richard Bell's punt return of 27 yards. The second touchdown, a 52-yard punt return by Dana Bretson. That's been the scoring. It's 14-0. And Florida State now has a first down at the Nebraska 40-yard line. McManus completing 6 of 12. One big one. The total is 51 yards. He's had an interception. Good play action fake, but he misses Ronald Lewis. And it will be 2nd down and 10. Later in today's game, we'll be selecting the outstanding player from each team. Budweiser will donate a total of $2,000 to the school's general scholarship fund. Bobby Bowden, the head coach of Florida State.
First half statistics. Look at the passing yardage for Nebraska. Really not a great shocker. They're going to run the football, as we said earlier on in our open. But time of possession, Florida State has had about 10 minutes, yet they have no points up on the board. Dominated by the Nebraska defense that they've given a little ground, but they have stopped, and they have 2 turnovers, 2 takeaways to their credit. This pass incomplete. He had pressure. Lewis was coming back. In reality, he was throwing it away. Special teams of Nebraska in the scoring, setting up all of the action really in the first quarter score as far as scoring is concerned. I think there was a mistake there. It seemed like McManus wanted to set up a screen. Florida State earlier on in the week, we talked to Bobby Bowden. He said we're going to screen, we're going to draw, try to keep Nebraska off balance away from our quarterback. But I think they're doing it too much. They're getting away from the offense that's brought them here. They have run 4 screens so far and 4 draws. 3rd down and 10. Sammy Smith. The fake and the super fake to Sammy Smith. Then the completed pass of 18 yards to Ronald Lewis. And it was the fake that set it up, and Lorenzo Hicks makes the tackle. And Lewis taking a deep breath as he sits on the ground. And we'll have an injury timeout. You're right, Charlie. The fake really did hold the linebackers inside. Etienne is frozen. Also, O'Malley, number 92, in the middle of the screen, took 2 of the defenders there, and that allowed the hole to open up behind for number 7, Ronald Lewis. And if you notice, the fake was so good that Lawrence Pete with him, went over on the play almost as if to make the tackle. And my eyes went right with him. I thought he gave it to him. I tell you, it was a good play. So converting on a 3rd down opportunity was 3rd and 10 at the 40. Lewis being helped to the sideline has been replaced now by Lawrence Dawsey. And here is Lewis, the sophomore from Jacksonville, Florida.
Player number 7, Ronald Lewis.
That was his first reception. Officially good for 18 yards to the 22-yard line and a first down. McManus incomplete. He was going to Herb Gaynor. Ronald Lewis being worked on the sideline. Back up by probably Charlie wants to test it out before going back into the contest.
That's exactly what he's doing.
.14:22 time remaining first half. Nebraska 14, Florida State nothing. Florida State threatening for the second time in the ball game. They were intercepted at the 1-yard line in the first quarter. Play action fake. Into double coverage. Is it there? Incomplete. Gator couldn't pull it in. It was laid in perfectly by Danny McManus. Good pass.
Charlie, it's a perfect pass. McManus had to throw it over the zone into the corner, but that corner of the end zone right now at this time of day is the most difficult for the receivers. They are looking right back into the sun, and it's a rainbow pass. It had to be over the defensive back in front. It looked like he lost it in the sun for just a second.
Charles Fryer and Brian Washington had the coverage, and you could see right there from that freeze where the shadows are, and the shadows reaching right in, and then he looks back from that corner. And as a receiver, that's one of the first things you want to check out. Where's the sun where you're going to be on the field?
When you first come to the stadium, that's what you do as a receiver. Where's the sun?
Jamie Smith. 26-yard line. He ends up losing 4 as Steve Forge finally brings him down at the 26-yard line along with Tim Jackson. It'll be 4th down. A couple of scores. In the Florida Citrus Bowl, Clemson 21 and Penn State 10 in the third quarter. Notre Dame leading Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas in the first quarter by a score of 7-0. And a 43-yard field goal attempt by Derek Schmidt. He has hit from 53 this year. His career long is 54. McManus is holding. It is high. Will it carry? No. It carries, but he's still missing. Or did it not carry? You had your eye on it.
It looked to me like it hit the goalpost. Charlie, we'll check it when we come back.
Pontiac's big value.
This 1988 Sunkist Fiesta Bowl is being brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. Everything else is just a light. By Shearson Lehman Brothers and E.F. Hutton, joining together to serve the serious investor. By Magnavox, smart products for smart people. Magnavox, smart, very smart. And by Pontiac, America's road car company. Pontiac, we build excitement.
Charlie, in checking that tape, Schmidt missed by about 2 feet to the right. It did not hit the upright, but he did clearly miss by a couple of feet.
From the 26-yard line, Ryan Carpenter takes the handoff. Paul McGowan makes the tackle at the 28. So a gain of a couple, and it'll be 2nd down and 8. Now we go back to the field goal attempt by Derek Schmidt.
It's tough to see, but right to the right of the goalpost. Take a look at it. It does not hit the upright. It misses by a couple of feet. The official standing right underneath has the perfect angle for it. And, of course, that's a good angle as well. Misses right.
2nd down and 8. The score is still Nebraska 14 and Florida State nothing. Quick screen outside to Dana Brinson. Good defensive reaction by Alfonso Williams. It'll be a loss of a yard to the 27, and it's 3rd down and 9. Florida State rushing 13 times, passing 17. Nebraska, as you can see, a more conservative offense, throwing only 1 pass thus far. 3rd down and 9. You look for the throw here. There's pressure. Here it is. Could be intercepted, and it is at the 40-yard line by Deion Sanders.
We talked quite a bit about the pressure of the Nebraska team. Florida State does a fairly good job of it as well. They forced Steve Taylor, even after the play action fake, to get rid of the football. He's running around back there, but 4 or 5 defenders from Florida State forced him to get rid of it. He actually should have eaten the football or thrown it away. He's throwing into the area. Deion Sanders, maybe the best defensive back in college football today. Didn't have to work very hard on that. Playing his zone, able to step in front and make the interception.
And he brings his friend along for the picture session. First down, Florida State at the Nebraska 41-yard line. McManus comes out throwing, has time deep over the middle. Almost intercepted back. Charles Fryer has a bruised thigh. 2 days ago did not think he would play at all, much less start. Almost had the interception. Lawrence Dawsey, the intended receiver. Second down and 10.
All right, let's take a look at the motion of Danny McManus off the play action fake. Is he on top of his toes? He sure is. He has the good form, but he throws into the middle of his zone. He really should not have, but again, he does have that good form. Now watch it. He gets it over the linebacker, but the receiver is clearly not open. In fact, 3 defenders lined up. McManus simply should have thrown that one away.
Second and 10. Sammy Smith. The 30, 24-yard line. 17 yards on the play. Ryan Washington with the tackle and the first down.
Sammy Smith is a long strider, Charlie. Watch, they're going back to the left side of the field. Again, that's away from their strength, but they want to keep it away from the strength of the Nebraska defense. And Smith with the long strides picks much more up, more than a first down than what he needed. It's interesting, though, Charlie. The right side of Florida State's offensive line behind Salva, Kuipers, and Tomberlin is their strength, and they are running away from that because they're concerned about Neil Smith and Broderick Thomas.
First down at the 24. McManus to throw. Sails it high, and it is incomplete. Lawrence Dawsey, the intended receiver, had cut off the pattern and was coming across. There was some miscommunication.
Well, it was the same play they tried before when I mentioned he should have thrown it away. Yep. He did throw it away. It was a smart play.
He decided to throw it away.
He came back. He saw that he did not have the defense that he wanted. This is the same exact play except to the other side. Now, he's pretty disgusted, but it was a good choice. He threw it far and away. Don't be upset about that, McManus. Danny, you did a right thing.
Steve Forge was putting the pressure on him. Second and 10. McManus only 7 of 19, 69 yards, and an interception. Sets up deep as if to set a screen. Pulled down by Gaynor. Good reception all the way to the 10-yard line. 14 yards to the senior from Sarasota, Herb Gaynor. Leroy Etienne making the tackle.
Charlie, when you look at Herb Gaynor here, reminds you of a lot of the receivers from Florida State. How about Hassan Jones now with the Minnesota Vikings? Looks a lot like him. Coming across the middle, you mentioned senior. That's the key word. He knows where the first down marker is, and he picks it up by about 2 or 3 yards with a good running after the catch.
They mark at the 11-yard line. In reality, it's between the 11 and the 10 as you take another look. So it is first at 10, just outside of the 10. Edgar Bennett gets a call, and Steve Forge stays at home to bring him down. It'll be second down and 9.
Pick up a yard on the play.
Nebraska leading 14-0. There's Tom Osborne, the head coach of the Huskers. Time to finish that story up? No, we'll save it. Save it. Great story. The story's not that good. That's the problem. We should have told it a long time ago and gotten rid of it. Second down and 9 at the 10-yard line. Just over 10.5 to go, first down. Touchdown, Florida State. Herb Gaynor.
Charlie, Herb Gaynor gets inside of everybody. There are 3 defenders for Nebraska in the middle of the end zone. Now look at this. He goes inside of number 5, Brian Washington. But Washington had help from Jackson and a lot of other players. Again, the savvy of Herb Gaynor completed that pass.
41 yards in 6 plays. It was set up by the interception. The extra point is up by Derek Schmidt. It is good. And Florida State pulls within 7. Nebraska 14. Florida State 7 will be back with a kickoff.
Doing a great job.
This is Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cefalo. Happy New Year, everybody. We've got a great one working here. Nebraska 14, Florida State 7 with 10.5 minutes left to go in the first half. Then it's on to Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen in the Rose Bowl, then on to the battle for number 1 in the Orange Bowl. Don Crickey will be there, of course, with Bob Trumpy and Tom Hammond. Yes, Jim.
Charlie, the success of Florida State on that drive, they did not run a draw once nor a screen one time. They're going away from it. But back to the offense that brought them to 10-1.
Dana Brinson will down it in the end zone, so they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Richie Andrews kicks off for Florida State. The freshman for Fort Lauderdale, and let's go back to the touchdown.
Look at the touchdown chart. Watch the 3 defensive backs in the end zone. They're playing a zone defense. They should not back all the way into the end zone. They have the end line of the end zone to help them out. And so somebody should have stayed right on the goal line. When a receiver is in there, you're hoping that somebody will backpedal all the way to the back of the end zone. You just step in front of them, make the catch. And that's exactly what Herb Gaynor did.
The touchdown coming on that 41-yard drive set up by Deion Sanders' interception. Nebraska now from the 20. Steve Taylor spinning to the 25. Paul McGowan with the tackle along with Dedrick Dodge. 2nd down and 5. And we have an injury timeout. Total plays thus far 36 to 50. This is David Palmer, the senior from Tallahassee, as he limps out. And it'll be 2nd down and 5. Henley Hawkins, the receiver, wide to the near side. Tyrese Knox, now the I-back, picks up the 1st down as he goes across the 31, maybe the 32, and there's Dedrick Dodge, the free safety again, who makes the stop. Mark it at the 32. Gain of 7, 1st down. Minutes and 40 seconds left to go, 2nd quarter. Nebraska leading by 7, 14 to 7. Tyrese Knox to the 50. Finally pulled out of bounds by Dedrick Dodge. 26 yards. The junior from Daly City, California.
Watch the blocking by the Nebraska front line coming to this side. You see number 61, John McCormick, getting a nice block on the end. And Brian Carpenter, number 29, the fullback, gets a good block, too. That's what Nebraska tries to do, Charlie. They set you up with the option, then they come back with the power sweep. And it's tough to play both. When you play an option, it's a finesse defense. When you play the power sweep, you better dig in and knock somebody down.
1st down at the 42-yard line. Taylor cuts back to the 35. 7 yards. Steve Gabbard makes the tackle. In the Cotton Bowl in the 2nd quarter, it is now Notre Dame 7 and Texas A&M 3. Here is Nebraska 14, Florida State 7, and Nebraska moving on offense, starting this drive at their own 20, now at the 35-yard line of Florida State. 8 minutes and 49 seconds left to go in the period. 2nd down and 3. Tyrese Knox again with the call. Keith Carter makes the tackle. 1st down, Huskers. Brinson coming in. And Henley Hawkins, a wide receiver, coming into the set. Fake of the reverse. 26-yard line. Gain of 3. 2nd down and 7. As Taylor keeps it.
Charlie, their center, Jake Young, I believe number 68 is in there now. He real quick off the ball. Take a look at him. Watch how quick he gets down, and after the nose tackle, that's number 53, Odell Haggins. See how he shades to one side? He got him to the left side because that's exactly where the play was going. He wanted to shade him to one side to be able to allow the running back to get to the corner.
And then John McCormick, the All-American guard, comes over, covers on the block to make sure that he has him.
Well, they had to set something up because they had to fake the Brinson coming back to that side. So they're trying to fake the linebackers out with that line blocking.
is loose. Florida State has it. Paul McGowan. We've got a timeout. We'll be back in just a moment to the Fiesta Bowl.
A Big Mac.
The best and brightest of the bowls are on NBC as the #1 Oklahoma Sooners take on the only team to have beaten them in 3 seasons, the #2 Miami Hurricanes. A battle of undefeateds for the national championship at the Orange Bowl. Tonight, college football's best and brightest are on NBC.
This play is made possible by Terry Warren, number 80. Watch him. He runs over the fullback, Micah Heibel, number 48, and that changes the pitch for him. Taylor's expecting the pitch, and the pitch man, Terrence Knox, is not there.
It was Eric Williams that hit him and jarred it loose, and Paul McGowan recovered the fumble, and Florida State has the ball at their own 25-yard line, and the turnovers are even, 2 on each side. Here's a fake. McManus to the 30. To the 40, out to the 43-yard line. Ronald Lewis with the lead block. 19 yards on the play. Jeff Jamrog with the tackle.
This is the second time they've run this, Charlie. This is almost like a naked bootleg. He's out in front with the option to throw or pass. Ronald Lewis makes the intelligent decision of blocking downfield after he's sure that McManus is going to run with the football. Nice block by number 7 in front of the play.
They spotted at the 44. And a first down. Edgar Bennett, the ball carrier. And he has a couple of yards, maybe 3. We'll give him 2 to the 46. It'll be second down and 8. Tom Jack, who has a fumble recovery of the ball game, makes the tackle. Officially, they're going to mark it the 47-yard line. 47-yard line, so it is second down and 7. Fake, here comes pressure. All alone at the 35-yard line. Dexter Carter pulls it in 16 yards. First down. Neil Smith was just a step away from Danny McManus.
You remember down on the goal line before the interception by Washington? It was because of the pressure of number 99, Neil Smith. The pressure comes again. This time McManus with a tremendous play, getting it over Etienne and into the hands of the receiver. There it is, Smith, number 99 with the pressure. McManus had to loft it over the top and get it past Etienne into the waiting hands of Dexter Carter. Nice play by McManus.
First down at the Nebraska 36-yard line. Just under 6 minutes to go in the first half. Pass is complete on the far side to Edgar Bennett. Bennett near the 20, a gain of 14. Back-to-back first downs. Leroy Etienne makes the tackle. In the Florida Citrus Bowl is Clemson 21 and Penn State 10 in the 4th quarter. And in the Cotton Bowl, Notre Dame 10, Texas A&M 3 in the 2nd period. Here is Nebraska 14, Florida State 7, with 5:23 left to go in the 2nd quarter. At Florida State on the move. Pat Carter in motion. McManus drops it off. It's Dexter Carter. Carter, a great move on the sideline. Flags come down as he gets to about the 8-yard line. He picks up 15, and he's hit by Steve Ford.
Here's a play, Charlie. They finally do come back to the screen. Set it up very well. Look at all the red jerseys inside. They fake the entire defensive front of Nebraska inside, allowing Carter to get the ball and stake down the sideline. Now here comes the flag. There's the late in. Oh, yeah.
Spearing.
Yeah, he was late, and he came in with the helmet as well. Let's see how they faked him in. Sneaks inside of the tackle. That's very important. He runs into Jamrock. Gets rid of him.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Defense. They're first down.
To be first and goal at the 4. Meanwhile, back at the 30-yard line, Broderick Thomas is injured and is being worked on there. So we have an injury timeout.
By the way, Charlie, that late hit seemed to be Steve Forch, number 38, coming in right at the end.
So we'll take a full timeout. Nebraska 14, Florida State 7. This is the sun-kissed Fiesta Bowl. We're moving on the 5-minute mark. Time remaining in the first half. 3 tight ends are in for Florida State. They like to run what they call the 34 wham here, the fullback in short yardage.
And they're set up for it. Number 92 O'Malley, the halfback, is the key, and they go to it. And it works.
Dane Williams, his 16th touchdown of the year from 4 yards out, and 15 of them have been off of that play. It is so good, but everybody knows it's coming, and they still do it. So Florida State pulls within 1, and Derek Schmidt will go for the tie. Marty Riggs to snap, Danny McManus to hold. It's tied. Florida State 14, Nebraska 14. We'll be back with the kickoff. This is Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cephalo, the 17th Sun-Kissed Fiesta Bowl. On a sun-drenched afternoon, Tempe, Arizona. And Richie Andrews, the freshman, will be kicking off to either Richard Bell or Dana Brinson. But the way that Andrews kicks off, we read really no wind today. He can sail it to the end zone. This one makes it on the hop, and we'll have the touchback. We'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Let's go back to 34 wham, the play.
34 wham, number 92 O'Malley. He's actually a tight end playing halfback. He's the wham man. He opens the area up. Actually, he missed the block on that play. Now let's take another look at it. The keys are Tomlin 72, Carter 85. That's the tackle in the tight end. Look at the big hole that opens up. O'Malley dove over the top and missed, but Dane Williams had enough strength to get into the end zone. They've run it now 26 times this year. It's worked 25 times.
The play is so good you can miss a block and still score. Nebraska from the 20-yard line. We're tied. 14-14. Steve Taylor is cut down at the line of scrimmage. Odell Haggins makes the play.
Haggins is really fired up. Charlie, he's the smartest nose tackle I've ever heard of.
Tell me why.
Because he doesn't want to play the position. They said to him last spring, we want you to play nose. He says, no, I want to play linebacker. They had some injuries and some problems early on. They moved him there. He's got 8 sacks. It leads the team, but he's smart because he doesn't want to play it. Toughest position in football.
2nd and 10. Keith Jones. 4 yards to the 24. 3rd down, 6. Haggins makes the tackle. See how smart Haggins is. Part of the deal was, he said, I will move to nose guard, providing I can move back next year to linebacker.
As long as I get the option. And he said he's going to use it, even though he's played so very well. You see, there's 3 offensive blockers trying to get at him, and yet he fights off the pressure and gets to the running back, Keith Jones.
3rd down, just over 5 to go for the first down. Call it 6. Little stiff arm and a cutback. Oh. Paul McGowan and Eric Hayes were there to greet him. You can hear that up here.
Now, this is why Haggins does not like to play the guard. Now, sometimes, you know, you get the bear. Sometimes the bear knocks you on the ground. That's exactly what happened to him. Nose tackle is tough because, as you see, he got hit by the center first. Then the guard came down and clipped him from the backside. It's legal in that area, but that is a tough position to play.
Well, John Croker with a 39.7-yard average will be kicking to Deion Sanders. Here comes pressure, he gets it off. Sanders at the 43. Returns to the 46-yard line. He had to do that without any blocking because everybody else was going. A 28-yard kick and a 4-yard return. And Keith Newbert makes the play.
Well, one of the hazards of returning kicks for Florida State, Charlie, yes, they did block 6 kicks this year, but as you mentioned, they put 10 men on the line of scrimmage and they try to go after the punt. Well, if they get it off, and Deion Sanders standing back there has no blockers in front of him.
You were a punt return man in college. What is that like when you all of a sudden you know that you're not going to have any blockers?
Well, I was the smartest punt return man I knew because I didn't want to do it. I told him I didn't want to do it any longer. And Don Shula, after my rookie year, was nice enough to say, you know, you didn't do it very well. You're right.
But you, actually, when you played here in the Fiesta Bowl, you had a great punt return. It grows longer every year, of course. The pass is complete. Edgar Bennett. Bennett taken out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Nebraska territory, 17 yards. Charles Fryer and Mark Blazek make the stop.
A nice play. Watch the fake. I think they do fake it to Bennett, number 22 first. He slips out into the flat, and there's not a Nebraska Cornhusker anywhere near him. They went for the run fake. Nice maneuvering by Danny McManus to sell the run first.
You saw the graphic just a moment ago. Be sure to stay with us at halftime. Gail Gardner, who we have welcomed to the NBC Sports family today, and she will be interviewing Earl Bruce at halftime. Earl Bruce in Pompano Beach, Florida. They've already done the interview. They'll be showing that. And join Gail, and she'll be updating all of the other bowl games today. As we start 1988, Herb Gainer, the intended receiver, and Hicks had the coverage. It'll be second down.
It's the toughest catch for a receiver going inside. Herb Gainer. He's got the defensive back all over him from the other side. Lorenzo Hicks with a nice coverage.
Just over 2.5 minutes left to go in the first half in a tie ball game, 14-14. And then, of course, it's on to the granddaddy, the Rose Bowl, and then to the national championship of the Orange Bowl. McManus dropped back at the 45. He'll lose 7 yards on the play, and Broderick Thomas gets the side.
Charlie, this is just the second time all season long that Danny McManus has been sacked. Watch the pressure coming from the front side. Tomberlin, number 72, with a nice block. However, Broderick Thomas over the backside gets the McManus just 2 times all season long with the sack. That was a big concern of Florida State.
Erase that. That's the 5th time. 2 last year, 4 this year. Yes, I wrote it down wrong. We'll go to that. Check it.
I will. Maybe I wrote it down wrong. I don't think so, though. You're right. He's been sacked 4 times tonight. They said once the year before.
And if we correct it now, it's been erased, so it's all right.
This is
the
5th time all season.
Well, that's what you meant to say. What you really meant to say is he doesn't get sacked a lot.
Not very often.
Not very often.
You know, he's got such quick feet and that quick release, and he'd rather throw it away than simply go down on his back.
Well, now that we've buried that hole and been digging our way out of it, we have a timeout on the field. And a moment for us to speak about the wild card. The AFC wild card, the Seattle Seahawks at Houston, Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. And that, of course, is the first step leading to the championship game and then on to the Super Bowl in San Diego. Tough ticket.
Yeah, best seat in the house.
It is. That's right. That's up behind the press box here. It's a great spot, a great setting. You know, there should be no cheering. Now notice right there that no cheering in the press box. Well, if you hear some cheering in our press box, we're let's go Gale. Way to go. I'll tell you about our location later. It's kind of interesting. And the Tom Osborne story. I'll finish it. 3rd down and 17. Did he catch it? Yes, he did. Ronald Lewis makes the play, 18 yards. And he has the first down. That was 3rd and 17. According to our figures, let's see if it's good enough on the field. Yes, it is. 27-yard line of Nebraska with 1:48 and counting. That is the time remaining in the first half. goes Dexter Carter. And it'll be second down and 10.
Number 13, Dexter Carter, incomplete. Second down.
Is everybody covered in reality? He was just throwing it away?
Well, he sent 3 receivers, one right down the middle of the field, and his 2 wideouts along the sidelines, and he tried to get it in between to the tight end. But they had a deep zone in front of him, and actually he would have been smarter to throw it as far as he could out of the end zone. He threw it in a safe place, though. Nobody came up with it.
Second and 10. Tom O'Malley, the motion man. Here's the blitz. Pass is complete. 25-yard line. Edgar Bennett. Brought down by Leroy Etienne. So it's only 2, and it'll be third down and 8. Within the field goal range of Derek Schmidt, who has hit this year from 53 yards out and has a career 54-yarder. He missed high and right from 43 yards out earlier here. In the second quarter, in the same direction. McManus on target, touchdown. Second touchdown of the ball game. Derek Schmidt with the extra point. It is good. Florida State 21, Nebraska 14, 44 seconds left, first half.
No.
Herb Gainer's second touchdown reception of the game.
All right, here's a look at the secondary. Watch number 23, the safety in the middle of the field, that Mark Blazek. He slips down, and that's what allowed Herb Gainer to sneak in front of him. One of the problems that the secondary of Nebraska has had today is when they're getting close to the end zone, they're backing too far close to it. Again, you've got to keep the receivers in front of you. To go into the end zone does not help once a bit. Now watch Blazek come back. He's too far near the end zone. He should be up the field to take away that slant pattern. Against that zone, a quarterback should not be able to complete a post.
21 unanswered points by Florida State as Richie Andrews kicks off. Brinson from the 1-yard line. He's to the 10. To the 20. To the 27-yard line. 26 yards on the return. And Nebraska has 38 seconds. In the first half, Leroy Butler makes the tackle. And in the Florida Citrus Bowl, fourth quarter, Clemson 28, Penn State 10. In the Cotton Bowl, now tied in Dallas at 10-10 in the second quarter. The tie here just broken. It's Florida State 21, Nebraska 14. Nebraska from their own 27-yard line. Taylor to the outside. If he gets a yard, that'll be all. Stan Shiver led the Seminole defense. Florida State with 2 timeouts left. Nebraska 3. 15 seconds and counting left in the first half. Second and 9 at the 28. Keith Jones. And that runs out the clock. As Paul McGowan makes the tackle, it's halftime in the 17th Sunkist Fiesta Bowl with the score Florida State 21 and Nebraska 14.
The name.
Welcome back to the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl. Score at halftime, Florida State leading Nebraska 21-14. The festivities have begun on the field. Let's go down and listen to the Florida State marching band. State Marching Band, of course, their home back in Tallahassee, Florida. Let's take a look back at that university campus, Florida State University in Tallahassee.
Florida State University? Yeah, that's Burt Reynolds' school.
FSU. That's where they have the world's most powerful supercomputer.
It's a strong liberal arts university known for its sciences and outstanding basic research.
Florida State University has the prettiest college campus I've ever seen.
If you want a career in music or theater, there's no better place to start than FSU.
Faculty members at Florida State really care about their students, and they let them know it.
Have you ever met an alum from FSU? They are incredibly enthusiastic about their school.
FSU is certainly making a difference in this state.
Welcome back to the 17th annual Sunkist Fiesta Bowl. Halftime, Florida State up on top of Nebraska by a score of 21-14. Halftime activities will continue in a moment with Gail Gardner in the studio. We'll be back right after these messages from your local station.
Monday, Alf gets...
Welcome back to our NBC studios in New York. I'm Gail Gardner, where college football's premier day is definitely underway. 3 of the 6 games have started. The one you're watching right now here on NBC, the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl. We are at the half. Florida State leading at the half by the score of 21-14. The Seminoles rallying. They were down 14-0. 2 touchdown passes in that game, a 2-Herb Gainer from Danny McManus. The Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida, and they are late in that game right now. Clemson is leading Penn State, the score 28-10. 3 short touchdown runs by fullback Tracy Johnson for the Tigers. The Cotton Bowl in Dallas, they are at the half as well. The Irish were leading, but Texas A&M has come back to take the lead. They lead 18-10 as they went for their 2-point conversion on that last touchdown. And by the way, Tim Brown does have 1 touchdown reception, the Heisman Trophy winner. Well, yesterday, as anticipated, John Cooper left Arizona State to take over as head football coach at Ohio State. Cooper replacing Earl Bruce, who was unceremoniously fired back in mid-November. Ironically, Bruce is rumored to be a candidate for Cooper's job at Arizona State. And earlier today, we talked to Earl Bruce about the past and the future. Coach Bruce, as you know, John Cooper was named to officially replace you at Ohio State yesterday, and we understand that you may be under consideration to be going to Arizona State. Can you tell us what the circumstances are right now and what may be some of the possibilities for you in the near future?
Well, I don't know the possibilities in the near future, but I'm sure that Arizona State right now is looking at what its possibilities are to replace John Cooper. I'm unemployed. I'm looking for work. I would consider any job opening right now that would want a good football coach and want to have a good football program and graduate a lot of their players and as I said, play winning football. Arizona State would be one of those that I would like to be considered for, and probably SMU is the other job that's open right now.
Coach Bruce, I have a feeling many of us watching the situation at Ohio State believe that you were not very tactfully handled. The situation was not very tactfully handled. I know you've had a little time to ponder all of it and what's happened to you, and I just wonder where you have put that all, where you have put it in its place for yourself.
Well, I don't think it was good for college football for that to happen. When I look at myself, my problem was with the college president, some people downtown. I don't like that, but I love Ohio State. I love my time there as a head coach, assistant coach, and a student. I'll always support the Buckeyes and the university. I don't know what to say. It's over. I've got to start over, and I'm looking forward to the next opportunity.
Should we be concerned about the state of college football right now? There are a lot of problems going on, but there's certainly the attitude of winning at any cost, and I think that obviously affected your situation. Should we be concerned?
Well, I think we should always be concerned about college football and the place that it holds at the university. I think that you'd like to graduate all of your football players that stay for 4 years. I think you would like to have a winning record. I think that if you do everything that you're supposed to do, a university should honor its contract and its obligation, and when they don't, it's bad. I think if you're running a program with high integrity and good program, that's the most important thing, and that's important to the university, it's important to me, and I think it's important to the NCAA and everyone else. And I'm proud of what we accomplished at Ohio State while I was there, and I just can't look back anymore. It's over.
I know the future is ahead of you. There will be coaching possibilities opening up for you. We look very much forward to seeing you once again on the sidelines. Okay. And best of luck, and have some fun in beautiful Pompano.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Earl Bruce earlier today. Tonight, of course, the Orange Bowl, the big showdown for the national title between Oklahoma and Miami. That will be preceded by the Rose Bowl, Michigan State against USC, and we have previews of both those matchups, beginning with Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen in Pasadena.
Gail, for the Big Ten teams, January 1st has not been very happy of late, and certainly not rosy. They've lost 16 of the last 18 games played here in the Rose Bowl. So for Michigan State, Merlin Olsen, what's the key?
Dick, Michigan State Spartans come into this game with a big advantage, the ability to control the line of scrimmage. They have the nation's stingiest rushing defense and a punishing rushing attack behind All-American Lorenzo White.
But Southern California is a slight favorite coming in.
Well, that's not the way I see it. In fact, I think Southern Cal is really going to have to scramble if they're going to win this game. That means big plays on special teams, turnovers if they can, but the key as far as I'm concerned, Rodney Peete. He is going to have a great day throwing the football.
The junior quarterback of the Trojans, Rodney Peete, already with 11 school records passing the key, says Merlin Olsen. Let's find out about the Orange Bowl. We go to Don Crickey and Bob Trumpy.
Dick, as you know, one of the keys in a game of this magnitude is how well two top teams can handle pressure, because there's going to be a ton of it tonight. Something's got to give, and oftentimes in the Oklahoma offense, it's the man with the ball. They have a fumble problem, good as they are, and Miami's got a defense that can force the ball free.
Yeah, Don, you're right. The wishbone historically has put that ball on the ground. I got another key for you. The fullback dive. The first option and the triple option. Lydell Carr, last time against Miami Hurricanes, 6 carries, 6 yards. That need a lot more. And for Miami, it's very simple. They've got to protect Steve Walsh, their quarterback. As long as he has time, he can throw it with anybody.
We're just a few hours from deciding college football's national championship at the Orange Bowl. Gail, now back to you.
All right, thank you, Don. Now, because of the NBC News special report earlier today, we were unable to bring you the completion of the Rose Bowl parade, but here are Bert Convey and Felicia Rashad with a look at the final few floats that you missed.
Hello, everyone.
All right, the Rose Bowl parade earlier today. It's time now to go back to the Fiesta Bowl in Tempe, Arizona, as halftime activities continue.
All right, Gail, we're back at halftime. The Sun-Kissed Fiesta Bowl, and now let's join another of the great collegiate marching bands, this one from the University of Nebraska. From Tempe, Arizona, let's visit the campus of the University of Nebraska.
Getting a start at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln means being prepared to succeed. For Jim Hartung, success meant winning the Olympic gold medal. For Johnny Carson, it was turning local talent into a network star. For White House correspondent Suzanne Schaefer, it's keeping the nation informed.
I went to the University of Nebraska, and I'm grateful for the people, the teachers, and the other students that helped inspire me while I was there.
The University of Nebraska has given me a down-to-earth practical education that has helped me in my public sector and private sector responsibilities through the years and throughout the world.
The true measure of the worth of one's education
is how well people perform in the job marketplace. We recruit Nebraska graduates because in an environment where teamwork is a critical success factor, they can get the job done.
The University of Nebraska-Lincoln recognized excellence.
Furnished by the Fiesta Bowl on behalf of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Welcome back to the Sun-Kissed Fiesta Bowl. I'm Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Cefalo. The score is 21-0. Nebraska with 14 points in the first quarter and 21.
Let's give them 14
points. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. I was so anxious to get to the tape.
But your point is correct. The
do it for me.
Florida State University has scored 21 straight points here to come back from that 14-0 deficit. They've done it in a lot of ways. This 34 wham play that Bobby Bowden has come up with. This 34 wham play that Bobby Bowden has come up with is tremendous. Watch it. It's worked 25 out of 26 times. Number 92, O'Malley's job is to go inside and get a block. He misses, but Dane Williams, number 49, has got enough strength to come in and still score the touchdown. 25 out of 26 times now in short yardage situations, and on the goal line, that play has worked.
And everybody knows that it is coming, and even when they miss a block on it, it still works. How does that happen?
Well, Bobby Bowden said, we're going to run it until somebody stops the play. How they do it is they have those two strong blockers up front, Carter and Tomberlin, a lot of strength, a big side of the line, and then they bring the other tight end in, O'Malley, and his job is to go up and find and clean out an area. Well, he missed there, but a lot of it has to do with Dane Williams. He's a tremendous short yardage runner. He has 15 touchdowns, now 16 on the year, less than 300 yards rushing. It tells you what kind of runner he is.
And for Florida State, now look at their third touchdown in the second quarter. And this is the second touchdown reception for Herb Gaynor, this one for 25 yards.
Herb Gaynor is an intelligent receiver. Watch him sneak inside of Blazek, number 23. He's going to slip down, but Blazek's job is to get up there. He's playing center field, and to make this play, he slips. Gaynor has enough ability to get inside and sneak in for his second touchdown of the afternoon. Charlie, the momentum has switched, obviously, very drastically here today. I think Bobby Bowden is doing a lot of things right. He began with that screen, the draw we talked about. Maybe he went to it a little bit too much, but he kept the pressure away from Danny McManus. Nebraska's game plan is to get to a quarterback. They have to start coming out of that five-man front line and start blitzing Danny McManus. They can't let him sit back there and throw the football. He's been too successful with it.
Meanwhile, the first quarter was dominated by Nebraska. It was dominated by their defense and by their return teams. But the Nebraska offense has not been a major factor thus far in the ballgame, because a punt return of 27 yards set up Keith Jones's 3-yard touchdown. That was the first for the Cornhuskers, and then Dana Brinson with a 52-yard punt return. But Nebraska will have the opening opportunity as Richard Bell and Brinson are the deep backs on the return. Brinson takes it at the goal line. He's to the 10, to the 20, and is spun down around the 23-yard line, as we'll take a look at the statistics of the first half. Time of possession to Florida State side. It's been that way throughout the game, Jim.
Yeah, more so in the first quarter. Remember, Charlie, they had 10 minutes to 10.5 minutes to Nebraska's 3.5, or 4.5 rather, and that's a surprising portion of it. They've put 21 points on the board, yet they have not had the football as much. Yards passing on the part of Nebraska. Taylor has yet to complete a pass today.
They come with their strength, and that's the I-back Keith Jones. And Stan Shiver is there to meet him. The play selection for Florida State. They've run the ball 18 times. They have thrown it 30. Nebraska 25 times on the ground, and only 2 passes have been aired out. Second and 6 at the 27. Keith Jones to the 32. Needs to go to the 33 for the first down. Eric Hayes and Thomas Hart both there for the Seminoles. And we'll have an official's timeout for a measurement.
Charlie, with the type of offense that Nebraska runs, they are not the type of a team that can come back. As you saw, 2 passes in the first half of the game They've got to establish a running attack here and get back down the field and score. If they allow Florida State to get the football, as they do pick up the first down, and get any farther ahead, the offensive strategies of Tom Osborne in Nebraska does not lend itself to coming from behind to win a football game.
By the way, to finish that story on Tom Osborne, he said, congratulations to Florida State. This was the luncheon on a great season of 10-1. He said, I've been trying to convince the whole state of Nebraska that 10-1 is a great record. Taylor throws back all alone. Big play. Banderas to the 20.
Play action fake. Watch Keith Jones, number 6. He carries the fake out completely. It confused everybody. The safety in the middle of the field, number 40, Greg Newell, was confused. And Banderas rambles down the field for a big play on the part of Nebraska. Charlie fumbles right at the end. To luck, the ball drops right back into his arms.
Throwing out of the wishbone. Officially the 19-yard line. Here's the delay. Inside draw to Brinson to the 10. Inside the 5. On a delayed draw that he jumps to the outside. Haggins makes the tackle. 18 yards.
Trying to look at it from the other side. This is actually a Statue of Liberty play. Watch Brinson just stand there. He sticks it back the other side. And they formed the blocking pattern up. But that's the old Statue of Liberty. A couple of nice blocks downfield. McCormick, number 61, with a great one. And Brinson just down to the 1.
That particular set with the play with the running back waiting was created by Paul Brown. Micah Heibel. Let's go to Gail Gardner.
The Florida Citrus Bowl is a final now, with Clemson defeating Penn State by the score of 35-10. The big man today, Tracy Johnson, the junior fullback, 3 touchdown runs, 3 short ones, that one for 6 yards, gave the Tigers the lead for good. They went on to defeat Penn State 35-10. Let's go back to Charlie and Jimmy in Tempe.
Thank you, Gail. Nebraska now going for the tie. Just back to the line of scrimmage for Keith Jones. Greg Newell with the tackle. And it'll be 3rd down and 2 at the 2. Richard Bell checks into the offensive set. The eye back is Keith Jones. No signal. Nebraska says they have it, and the officials agree. Touchdown for the Huskers. So Nebraska opens with a 77-yard touchdown drive, capped by the quarterback, Steve Taylor.
See if he gets in, Charlie. Good surge by the offensive line. Tough to tell from that angle. And apparently tough to tell from the officials' angle as well. They waited a good 20 seconds before they gave the signal for the touchdown by the quarterback, Steve Taylor.
Chris Drennan out of the hold of Clete Blakeman for the tie. 7 plays on the drive, and we are tied again. This time, the number is 21. 21-21 with 11:41 left to go. We're in the 3rd quarter at the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl.
Human race.
This 1988 Sunkist Fiesta Bowl is being brought to you by the Sunkist family of products, where you can be sure of the highest quality every time you have our word on it. By Nissan Cars and Trucks, built for the most important race of all, the human race. By Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. And by UPS, for overnight delivery from coast to coast. UPS runs the tightest ship in the shipping business. The 17th Sunkist Fiesta Bowl. A 21-21 tie, as Chris Drennan will be kicking off for Nebraska, with Dexter Carter and Keith Ross, the deep backs on the return. Here's Keith Ross. At the 25, he reverses, needs a block. He's to the 30, the 35. Spins away, 40, 42-yard line.
Number 20, Keith Ross. Tackled by number 56.
Steve Stannard of Lincoln, Nebraska, is the man who makes the tackle after that 31-yard return.
All right, let's take a look at the touchdown. Did Taylor get in or not? There's an interesting part right at the end of this play. Watch where he gets down on the ground. We'll slow it up for you. He's down. Now watch what he does with the arm. He sneaks it into the end zone. There it is. He actually had not broken the plane when he hit the ground.
Florida State from their own 43-yard line.
Ball carrier, number 22, Edgar Bennett.
Edgar Bennett, the ball carrier. Tim Rather makes the tackle.
Number 99, Leo Smith.
The last 3 possessions at the end of the first half.
Up the yard on the play, balls on the 43-yard line. 3rd and 9.
Second down and 9. McManus over the middle, on target. At the 42-yard line of Nebraska, Tim Jackson makes the tackle, a gain of 15 yards and the first down.
Tackled by number 4, Tim Jackson. First down,
McManus continually is fitting the ball in between the zone. Watch the zone set up. There it is, in between 2 defenders. Nice throw on the part of McManus. Carter right in between for the first down.
Pat Carter, the 6'4", 255-pound senior All-America tight end. Florida State's number 2 receiver this past season. And a first down at the Nebraska 42. Sammy Smith. A couple of yards to the 40. It'll be second down and 8. As Steve Forch makes the stop.
Tackled by number 38, Steve Forch.
Tom Osborne on the sideline, talking with his quarterback, number 9, Steve Taylor. The junior now makes his home in Fresno, California. Time remaining, 3rd quarter. Welcome back to the Sun-Kissed Fiesta Bowl. I'm Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Cefalo. The score is 21-0. Nebraska with 14 points in the first quarter and 21
let's give them 14
points. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. I was so anxious to get to the tape.
But your point is correct. The
do it for me.
Florida State University has scored 21 straight points here to come back from that 14-0 deficit. They've done it in a lot of ways. This 34 wham play that Bobby Bowden has come up with. This 34 wham play that Bobby Bowden has come up with is tremendous. Watch it. It's worked 25 out of 26 times. Number 92 O'Malley's job is to go inside and get a block. He misses, but Dane Williams, number 49, has got enough strength to come in and still score the touchdown. 25 out of 26 times now in short yardage situations, and on the goal line, that play has worked.
And everybody knows that it is coming, and even when they miss a block on it, it still works. How does that happen?
Well, Bobby Bowden said, we're going to run it until somebody stops the play. How they do it is they have those 2 strong blockers up front, Carter and Tomberlin, a lot of strength, a big side of the line, and then they bring the other tight end in, O'Malley, and his job is to go up and find and clean out an area. Well, he missed there, but a lot of it has to do with Dane Williams. He's a tremendous short yardage runner. He has 15 touchdowns, now 16 on the year, less than 300 yards rushing. It tells you what kind of runner he is.
And for Florida State, now a look at their 3rd touchdown in the 2nd quarter. And this is the 2nd touchdown reception for Herb Gaynor, this one for 25 yards.
Herb Gaynor is an intelligent receiver. Watch him sneak inside of Blazak, number 23. He's going to slip down, but Blazak's job is to get up there. He's playing center field, and to make this play, he slips. Gaynor has enough ability to get inside and sneak in for his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. Charlie, the momentum has switched, obviously, very drastically here today. I think Bobby Bowden is doing a lot of things right. He began with that screen, the draw we talked about. Maybe he went to it a little bit too much, but he kept the pressure away from Danny McManus. Nebraska's game plan is to get to a quarterback. They have to start coming out of that 5-man front line and start blitzing Danny McManus. They can't let him sit back there and throw the football. He's been too successful with it.
Meanwhile, the first quarter was dominated by Nebraska. It was dominated by their defense and by their return teams. But the Nebraska offense has not been a major factor thus far in the ballgame, because a punt return of 27 yards set up Keith Jones's 3-yard touchdown. That was the first for the Cornhuskers. And then Dana Brinson with a 52-yard punt return. But Nebraska will have the opening opportunity as Richard Bell and Brinson are the deep backs on the return. Brinson takes it at the goal line. He's to the 10, to the 20, and is spun down around the 23-yard line as we'll take a look at the statistics of the first half. Time of possession to Florida State side. It's been that way throughout the game, Jim.
Yeah, more so in the first quarter. Remember, Charlie, they had 10 minutes to 10.5 minutes to Nebraska's 3.5, or 4.5 rather, and that's the surprising portion of it. They've put 21 points on the board, yet they have not had the football as much. Yards passing on the part of Nebraska. Taylor has yet to complete a pass today.
They come with their strength, and that's the I-back Keith Jones. And Stan Shiver is there to meet him. The play selection for Florida State. They've run the ball 18 times. They have thrown it 30. Nebraska 25 times on the ground, and only 2 passes have been aired out. Second and 6 at the 27. Keith Jones to the 32. Needs to go to the 33 for the first down. Eric Hayes and Thomas Hart both there for the Seminoles. And we'll have an official's timeout for a measurement.
Charlie, with the type of offense that Nebraska runs, they are not the type of a team that can come back. As you saw, 2 passes in the first half of the game. They've got to establish a running attack here and get back down the field and score. If they allow Florida State to get the football, as they do pick up the first down, and get any farther ahead, the offensive strategies of Tom Osborne in Nebraska does not lend itself to coming from behind to win a football game.
By the way, to finish that story on Tom Osborne, he said, congratulations to Florida State. This was the luncheon on a great season of 10-1. He said, I've been trying to convince the whole state of Nebraska that 10-1 is a great record. Taylor throws back all alone. Big play. Banderas to the 20. 47 yards. Martin Mayhew saves the touchdown.
Play action fake. Watch Keith Jones, number 6. He carries the fake out completely. It confused everybody. The safety in the middle of the field, number 40, Greg Newell, was confused. And Banderas rambles down the field for a big play on the part of Nebraska. Charlie fumbles right at the end. But luck, the ball drops right back into his arms.
Throwing out of the wishbone. Officially the 19-yard line. Here's the delay. Inside draw to Brinson to the 10. Inside the 5. On a delayed draw that he jumps to the outside. Haggins makes the tackle. 18 yards.
Try to look at it from the other side. This is actually a Statue of Liberty play. Watch Brinson just stand there. He sticks it back the other side. And they formed the blocking pattern up, but that's the old Statue of Liberty. A couple of nice blocks downfield. McCormick, number 61, with a great one, and Brinson just down to the 1.
That particular set with the play with the running back waiting was created by Paul Brown. Micah Heibel. Let's go to Gail Gardner.
The Florida Citrus Bowl is a final now, with Clemson defeating Penn State by the score of 35-10. The big man today, Tracy Johnson, the junior fullback, 3 touchdown runs, 3 short ones, that one for 6 yards, gave the Tigers the lead for good. They went on to defeat Penn State 35-10. Let's go back to Charlie and Jimmy in Tempe.
Thank you, Gail. Nebraska now going for the tie. Just back to the line of scrimmage for Keith Jones. Greg Newell with the tackle. And it'll be 3rd down and 2 at the 2. Richard Bell checks into the offensive set. The eye back is Keith Jones. No signal. Nebraska says they have it, and the officials agree. Touchdown for the Huskers. So Nebraska opens with a 77-yard touchdown drive capped by the quarterback, Steve Taylor.
See if he gets in, Charlie. Good surge by the offensive line. Tough to tell from that angle. And apparently tough to tell from the officials' angle as well. They waited a good 20 seconds before they gave the signal for the touchdown by the quarterback, Steve Taylor.
Chris Drennan out of the hold of Clete Blakeman for the tie. 7 plays on the drive, and we are tied again. This time, the number is 21. 21-21 with 11:41 left to go. We're in the 3rd quarter at the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl.
Human race.
This 1988 Sunkist Fiesta Bowl is being brought to you by the Sunkist family of products, where you can be sure of the highest quality every time you have our word on it. By Nissan Cars and Trucks, built for the most important race of all, the human race. By Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. And by UPS, for overnight delivery from coast to coast. UPS runs the tightest ship in the shipping business. The 17th Sunkist Fiesta Bowl. A 21-21 tie, as Chris Drennan will be kicking off for Nebraska with Dexter Carter and Keith Ross, the deep backs, on the return. Here's Keith Ross. At the 25, he reverses, needs a block. He's to the 30, the 35. Spins away, 42-yard line.
Number 20, Keith Ross. Tackled by number 56.
Steve Stannard of Lincoln, Nebraska, is the man who makes the tackle after that 31-yard return.
All right, let's take a look at the touchdown. Did Taylor get in or not? There's an interesting part right at the end of this play. Watch where he gets down on the ground. We'll slow it up for you. He's down. Now watch what he does with the arm. He sneaks it into the end zone. There it is. He actually had not broken the plane when he hit the ground.
Florida State from their own 43-yard line.
Ball carrier, number 22, Edgar Bennett.
Edgar Bennett, the ball carrier. Tim Rather makes the tackle.
Number 99, Neil Smith.
The last 3 possessions at the end of the first half.
Up the yard on the play, balls on the 43-yard line. 3rd and 9.
Second down and 9. McManus over the middle, on target. At the 42-yard line of Nebraska, Tim Jackson makes the tackle, a gain of 15 yards and the first down.
Tackled by number 4, Tim Jackson. First down, Seminole.
McManus continually is fitting the ball in between the zone. Watch the zone set up. There it is, in between 2 defenders. Nice throw on the part of McManus. Carter right in between for the first down.
Pat Carter, the 6'4", 255-pound senior All-America tight end. Florida State's number 2 receiver this past season. And a first down at the Nebraska 42. Sammy Smith. A couple of yards to the 40. It'll be second down and 8. As Steve Forch makes the stop.
Tackle by number 38, Steve Ford.
Tom Osborne on the sideline, talking with his quarterback, number 9, Steve Taylor. The junior now makes his home in Fresno, California. Time remaining third quarter, 9:54. Second down and 8. Play action, fake on the bootleg. Throw. Pass is complete to Carter. Carter just bowls his way to the 22-yard line. 18 yards as Neil Smith makes the tackle.
This is the third time that McManus has run this play. The first time he's thrown it, let's take a look at it from the other side. It's again the naked bootleg. There's nobody in front of him as far as blockers are concerned, but he does have Carter as an outlet receiver going downfield. His first choice was to go to Ronald Lewis, number 7, but Carter was the one open, and that's a bull of a man, Charlie. He may play offensive tackle in the pro ranks. He's going to play in the Senior Bowl half the game as a tight end, half as a blocker. He does both very well.
Mark it for 17 to the 23. Marion Butts, the first back through, brought down by Leroy Etienne.
Ball carrier.
21-yard line, gain of a couple. Second down and 8.
On the tackle, number 47, Leroy Etienne. Pick up a 3 yard. Second and 7 from the 20-yard.
Nebraska got off to a 14-0 lead after the end of the first quarter. Florida State with 21 unanswered points, leading at halftime 21-14. And Nebraska coming back to open the second half with a 77-yard drive in 7 plays. And we're tied at 21-21. Here's McManus. Pass is complete at the 15-yard line. Sammy Smith with the reception, Forge with the tackle. Smith, during the regular season, only had 6 receptions on the year.
Take a look at that, Charlie. He's got the zone coverage downfield, but has enough sense just to find the open area in the zone. That's what McManus has done so well this afternoon. Find the open receiver in between the Nebraska zone. They're going to have to come out of that zone, Charlie, and get to McManus by rushing a linebacker. If they do, they have to play man-to-man. They don't like to do that.
Smith's first reception of the ballgame. He takes the fake. McManus trying just to lay it in with a light touch to Edgar Bennett, and is incomplete. It'll be 4th down and 2. And Derek Schmidt will come out with a field goal attempt. He's 0 for 1 in this ball game, missing the same direction in the first half from 43 yards away. High to the right. This is Ronald Lewis on that last play.
I think he believes he was open, as all good receivers do. They believe they're open, and I think he was on that play.
32-yard field goal attempt. It is good from 32 yards away, and it's Florida State 24, Nebraska 21.
There's 2 kinds of people.
That's Kirby Husker cheering here at the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl, where we have 7:49 time remaining in the third quarter, and Florida State leads for the second time in the ballgame. This time it's 24-21. Richie Andrews will be kicking off for the Seminoles, and for the Cornhuskers, Richard Bell, number 21, and Dana Brinson, number 33, are the return men. This is Brinson from the 2 to the 10. Slips as he makes his cut at the 19, comes down at the 20 or the 21-yard line. Nebraska on their last drive went 77 yards in 7 plays with the quarterback Steve Taylor going in from a couple of yards out. First down at the Nebraska 21. Micah Heibel, the fullback, Keith Jones, the I-back, and it is Jones. To the 25, the 30. 36-yard line, 15 yards on the play. Greg Newell with the tackle and a first down.
David Palmer. He's got a shot at Keith Jones. He just misses. That's what a good back does. Nobody blocked Palmer, but he was unable to come up with the tailback.
First down. Jones will give him 3 to the 39. Second down and 7.
Charlie, again, you notice the depth of the tailback. Keith Jones is standing about 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage. They get the ball to him as deeply as possible, and he's able to see the blocking in front.
But isn't that one of the reasons that the I-backs from Nebraska had a problem when they'd come into the National Football League, from being so far back?
It's a theory that I have, yes. If someone is about 8
I knew I heard it somewhere. I heard it from you. That's right.
We'll get into that story as we develop this afternoon's game.
The pitch is to Brinson. And you got whistles every place. All right, well, but see that official that came over with that call? That's Buddy Coleman. We were in college together, University of Arkansas. He was a great college football player for the Razorbacks.
We have a dead ball. Illegal procedure by the offense. Lined up in the neutral zone. First down.
There's Buddy. Put on a little weight since then.
Haven't we all?
Oh, no. His son Walt also is an official. And in the Navy-Arkansas game in Little Rock, they worked together as a linesman and a line judge. And I think it's the first time in a major college game that you've had a father-son combination. And Wendell Shelton, who's the referee here, also worked that ball game.
Can you wave?
Just notice how I weaved that in so cleverly. Had trouble getting the Tom Osborne story in, but I got this in. Here's Taylor, and he hands to Keith Jones. 36-yard line. Odell Haggins makes the tackle, and he celebrates.
And he should celebrate. Odell Haggins right on the nose. Again, fighting. It's really like chicken fighting inside there, Charlie. He's being held all over by number 68, Jake Young. That's not, you know, that should be a penalty. That's a misdemeanor when you hold somebody that bad. Odell Haggins, though, is a fine nose tackle, but he will be a linebacker next season.
Third down and 10. Taylor with lots of time, now being chased. That's grounding the ball. Bart shoots, pulling him down, and that'll be intentional grounding.
Taylor is going to complain about this, but the officials have to make this call based on intent. There's no way that Steve Taylor could have seen the receiver downfield. Shelton Thompson, number 93, is all over him. But take a look at it. Taylor will throw the football without knowing. He has no way of knowing where the receiver is. I think intent is the choice.
I think you could title that replay intent.
Bart shoots, number 98, also.
There was an eligible receiver in the area. It is.
It's going to be fourth down.
There was I agree. That's what I said. There was an eligible receiver in the area, but Taylor had no idea that he was there.
He didn't know he was there. Deion Saunders, the return man. John Croker is the kicker. Here he is. He's been kicking. Wind has not been a factor here today. A 37-yard average as long as 43. A little under his 39.7-yard average for the regular season. This is only the second time this year that Nebraska has played on real grass. And the other time was here also against Arizona State.
That's right. They defeated Arizona State earlier in the season on this very field, 35-28. Now they got it right.
They got to bring it back up to the line of scrimmage because since there was an eligible receiver, then it's just an incomplete pass. And they'll put the flags back. That's what they're doing. No, as long as there's an eligible receiver over there, whether you know it or not, even though you're in tilt. Anyway, John Croker's going to catch it. Kind of a knuckleball. And here is Sanders. Out to the 42, maybe the 43-yard line. Only a 31-yard kick with a 10-yard return. We have 5:16 time remaining. We're in the third quarter here at the 17th edition of the Sun-Kissed Fiesta Bowl. We'll be back in just a moment.
Every night while you're
BC.
That's not Sun Devil Stadium, but this is. It's a gorgeous day here in Tempe, Arizona. The Sun-Kissed Fiesta Bowl. Danny McManus. He goes deep, has a man, and overthrows him. Ronald Lewis just a step behind. Lorenzo Hicks had the coverage.
Charlie, they can't let him sit back there and throw the football at will. Nebraska is going to have to come off of that 5-man front that they use, start blitzing a linebacker, getting more pressure on McManus, because he's able to pick them apart. Those numbers are tremendous for the third quarter.
236 yards. Second down and 10 at the 43. It's Florida State 24, Nebraska 21. Just over 5 minutes to go, third quarter. Edgar Bennett, ball carrier. He goes to the 47-yard line. And it'll be third down and 6 as Neil Smith makes the tackle. And of course, as always, it's a tradition. We start the New Year's here on NBC with the Fiesta Bowl. Last year, we delayed it to February the 2nd for that game. Then it's on to Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen at the Rose Bowl for the Granddaddy. And then down to Miami for the Orange Bowl, the battle for #1. Don Crickey, Bob Trumpet will be in the booth. McManus goes deep, it is high, it is incomplete. It will be fourth down. Herb Gaynor, the intended receiver.
Charlie, that time Nebraska sent Steve Forts, number 38, the linebacker. They are trying to get out of that rhythm. McManus has got to get sacked. Let's take a look at the blocking. Pat Tomlin, number 72, against Smith. He tries to go inside him over the top, but that is some great offensive blocking on the part of Tomlin. Now here it is from the other side. Forts, number 38, is the one who comes to blitz. The linebacker gets inside and gets to McManus. That's the kind of pressure they're going to need.
Now remember that side of Pat Tomlin in the block. Terrible kick. Yards. Rick Tootin. Break for Nebraska. They've got the ball when we come back.
Well, the challenge is to make in any
BC.
Here is the punt of Tootin.
If you're a golfer, you can appreciate this. It slips off the side of the...
We call that a shank.
That's right. Just 5 yards on the kick. Tootin, by the way, you see his disgusted reaction, has a national championship ring. He was the punter for the University of Miami in 1983 when they won the title.
Now, when Nebraska came out at halftime to start the second half, they became a little bit gimmicky in that drive.
Well, we said earlier that they don't have the type of offense that comes back to throw the football and score with it. They only threw 2 passes the first half. They threw a pass off the wishbone, which they don't normally run, and had a second gimmick play, that Statue of Liberty. Now they can go back to a basic offense.
Incomplete. Steve Taylor, who has scored a touchdown. One of the 3 for Nebraska with only 1 completion in 5 attempts, and he has been intercepted. Second and 10. 47-yard line. Florida State territory. Steve Gabbard with a tackle.
Trey, watch the intent of the Florida State defensive people. They want to get after Steve Taylor right now. Force him to keep and hang on to the football. They do a good job of it there. They want him to pitch it when they want him to pitch it. They try to get after him as quickly as possible. But Taylor's got to pitch it when they force him to. He hung on to it that time. He should have gotten rid of it.
Third down and 7. Setting a double screen, and they're both covered. setting a double screen on each side. Take a pick. Wells defense.
Well, there's two choices. That either they were setting a double screen or half the team heard one call and half the team heard the other one, because I'm not so sure if I've ever seen this play run before.
Oh, yes, many times.
This is just the innovation of Steve Taylor with the presence of mind to find a receiver downfield.
23 yards on the play to the 24-yard line. First down. Tyrese Knox. 4 yards to the 20. It'll be second down and 6. Dedrick Dodge makes the tackle.
Surprisingly, Charlie, they did go to 2 more gimmick plays. Once again, at the ball at the 50-yard line, down by 3 points, you go with the offense that brought you here. Just by the presence of Steve Taylor, they complete this pass and put themselves in positions to get back into the game with a field goal or a touchdown.
Former announcer, did you see it? Ball at the 20-yard line. Second down and 6. Ken Clark. Is that Clark? No, that's Knox. Tyrese Knox. Five carries for 51 yards for Tyrese Knox. On the year, he rushed 62 times for 428 yards with a 6.9-yard average. Does not and did not have a pass reception. A first down at the 13-yard line. And that's Knox in motion. Lots of time, scrambles back, slips as he makes his cut. So Taylor is down at the line of scrimmage at 13, where it'll be second down and 10.
And if Taylor doesn't slip, he had Richard Bell wide open in the corner of the end zone. He was starting to go in that direction. Bell, you see the right half back there, he fakes to it. He goes to the left, and everybody forgets about him. He was starting to look back to that way when he slips and falls down.
They mark it the 14, so it is second down and 11. Knox is hit at the line of scrimmage. His momentum will give him a yard to the 13. Stan Shiver brought him down. It'll be third down and 10. We're moving on the 1-minute mark. Time remaining in the third quarter. It is Florida State 24, Nebraska 21. Third down and 10. And of course, well within the field goal range of Chris Drennan, who has a 50-yarder this year. The third down and 10, you throw here, then you go for the tie with the field goal attempt if you're unsuccessful with the pass. Fake of the reverse, and it's Taylor. Still on his feet. Steve Taylor. Odell Haggins finally got him on the far side. He needed to go to the 3. I don't think he got quite that far, but he almost did it.
Charlie, this is just really the option. What they do is they bring the wing back around back Brinson, and he's able to use him as he normally does the I back. The fake reverse just takes the. Now watch the push by Brinson. That's illegal. You can't aid a running back. The officials don't see it, don't make the call.
So it's fourth down. And about half a yard to go for the first down, disdaining the field goal attempt for the tie with 43 seconds to go in the third. They're going for it. They got a touchdown. Tyrese Knox. Out. A 52-yard drive that in reality was set up by the 5-yard punt of Rick Tootin. The extra point attempt is good. And Nebraska has taken the lead 28-24.
There are a lot of people out there who are truck people at heart, but they just want the comfort of a car. What we've done is combined all the aspects of a luxury car and of a tough 4x4.
When you step inside of a Pathfinder, it's like stepping into a luxurious sedan.
I mean, it's kind of like a civilized way to go bouncing down a dirt road.
High clearance, wide stance. That takes you places that aren't even places.
Nissan, built for the toughest race of all, the human race.
Holiday greetings from Budweiser. The people who bring you Budweiser wish you and yours the very best of everything this holiday season.
Once, there were a few proud men, men of adventure, men of courage, men who knew the meaning of honor. There still are, the Marines. We're looking for a few good men.
This is Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cephalo, along with Chris Drennan, number 16 for Nebraska, who will kick off. And Dexter Carter, number 13, Keith Ross, number 20 for Florida State, set to return. If it goes into the end zone and hits, it's an automatic dead ball, and it's automatic touchback. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line.
Right, that, of course, is different than the pros, Charlie. When the hits like that, you can jump on it in the pro ranks. Here's a look at the replay. Heibel, number 48, with a good block on Palmer. That's what opened it up. In order to run this power I formation, you've got to have a great blocking fullback. He's really another lineman in the backfield. Watch him, 48 Heibel, making the big block against Palmer. That opens up the big hole for Knox to get into the end zone. Charlie, a little surprising on 4th and 1, however, down by 3 points not to go for the field goal.
Florida State from their own 20-yard line, first down. Tyrese Knox scoring the touchdown. He had 3 touchdowns during the regular season. And here comes Florida State from their own 20-yard line. Dexter Carter, a yard to the 21. It'll be second down and 9 as Jeff Jamrog makes the tackle for Nebraska. 25-second clock has just started, so the game clock in reality is underneath it, so that Florida State can just let it run out without another play. They may want to take another play here. As we have 7 seconds and counting left to go in the third quarter. Incomplete, going to Dexter Carter, and with that play, the third quarter comes to a close. At the end of the third, the score, Nebraska 28, Florida State 24. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
On our house.
Teachers are going on strike.
Oh, now.
Jeff Rhodes, The News, WAFF 48.
The week of the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl is always very special with so many events, including the Fiesta Ball Bowl. Ryan Carroll and Vic Damone entertaining us. Some 1,400 the other night. The kickoff luncheon of 5,000. Here's McManus going to the 30-yard line. It will be close to the first down. It just touches the chalk mark. Pat Carter, the receiver. T. Forts was there. And it will be a first down. You don't bring the chains out in this case. Remember, there was a touchback, and so they start from the 20, so you know if it touches the chalk on the 30 that you've got it. The parade yesterday, Dennis Conner, the Grand Marshal of the parade. So it's really been an exciting week here in the Valley of the Sun. Mike Murray for the defense. Jeff Jamrog was also there, but it was Murray who made the hit, number 74. Through 3 quarters.
Well, the passing yardage of Nebraska, 71 yards. That was all during that third quarter. McManus continues to have the big day with the 2:36 on his side of the ledger, and Nebraska coming back with time of possession as the third quarter concludes.
Loss of a yard, 2nd and 11 at the 29. McManus, and it is caught. Dawsey with a 17-yard reception. Blazek brings him down.
McManus is an underrated quarterback, Charlie. I got to tell you, he can play professional football. He's a straight drop back pass, but watch the touch over the linebacker inside and just in front of Blazek, the safety. Very few people can do that. Look at the zone set up all the way across the field, right at the 45. 3 Nebraska players. Now here comes the receiver inside, and McManus has the touch to get it over the linebacker Etienne in front of Blazek. Great throw.
First down at the 45. McManus over the middle, and it is dropped. Herb Gaynor, who has scored 2 touchdowns, would just juggle it and couldn't find the handle. That's so frustrating as a receiver, because you know it's there. You just can't get to it.
Well, especially when you're someone like Herb Gaynor, who has very good hands. He catches the ball extremely well. That is very uncharacteristic of him. Certain receivers, it's more than frustrating. It's a label that you get if you can't catch it, but Herb Gaynor does not have that label. He has a good set of hands.
You had a good set of hands.
That's about it, though.
Hey, we start with the positive. McManus, 21 of 40. He's thrown for 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Another one. He let 2 get away, and Charles Fryer.
And that's how label comes about, though, Charlie. He could have caught 50 passes in a row. He drops 2 in a row, and people will remember that. Herb Gaynor is a senior who will be drafted this year. He's tall, lanky, not great speed, but the book on him is he does catch the football very well. And what I liked about McManus, though, is he came right back to him. Yeah. That shows the confidence that McManus has in the receiver. You always like that. If you go out and drop a pass, I always wanted them to come right back to me so I could prove it. Now Herb Gaynor's got to go to the sideline for a while and think about 2 drops in a row.
We've got a flag, and here's the call.
Holding by the offense. Penalty is declined. It will be 3rd down.
So it'll be 3rd down and 10.
Right side of your line, Pat Tomberlin, number 72. Is he the one who was called for holding? Well, he's got a hold of Ray Valadeo. He's got a hold of him pretty well. I don't know if that's where the flag came from. Of course, in the college ranks, they don't announce the one who's guilty.
You notice again the shot of Pat Tomberlin, number 72. That's O'Malley in motion. Incomplete. Terry Anthony was coming back for it, couldn't get to it. Ryan Washington was right behind him. It'll be 4th down. A final in the Florida Citrus Bowl is Clemson 35, Penn State 10. And in the Cotton Bowl in the 3rd quarter, Texas A&M pulling away from Notre Dame 25-10. And here it is Nebraska 28. Oh, excuse me, Sugar Bowl. Auburn 7 and Syracuse nothing in the 1st quarter. As Tootin kicks here. And Richard Bell has the return. As he comes across the 25 to round the 27-yard line. A 38-yard kick and a 10-yard return. 28-24. Nebraska leads by 4.
Okay, let's get moving.
This 1988 Sunkist Fiesta Bowl is being brought to you by the Sunkist family of products, where you can be sure of the highest quality every time you have our word on it. By Apple Computer, maker of Macintosh personal computers, giving you the power to be your best. By the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevy truck. And by John Hancock Financial Services, real life, real answer.
Association.
Nebraska at their own 26-yard line, leading 28-24. 12:39 left to go here in the 17th edition of the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl. Tyrese Knox to the 32-yard line, and a flag is down. Thomas Harp making the tackle. And Florida State is offside. Bobby Bowden, the head coach of Florida State. 6-3-1 in bowl games.
And they have such different styles, Tom Osborne and Bobby Bowden. Tom Osborne.
Defense is offside. We'll repeat, first down, 5-yard penalty.
And that is the first penalty against Florida State in the ballgame.
Tom Osborne seems to be such a quiet young man.
Like a riverboat gambler, though, when you get him in the ballgame.
Because when you think about the specialty plays, remember Fumblerooski?
Yes.
He has that basic offense. He runs the power formations. He likes the option. Then all of a sudden he comes up with something very unusual.
With the penalty, it's first down and 5. Tyrese Knox. He's going to lose 2 to the 29, so it's going to be second down and 7 as Kevin Grant makes the tackle.
McGowan, the Butkus Award winner. Let's take a look at him. Good speed. He's the one who causes this. He runs into another All-America. John McCormick forces number 29, Brian Carpenter, to clog up the hole, and Knox unable to get any yardage. McGowan, though, a surprise winner of the Butkus. Chris Spillman of Ohio State was a leading candidate for so long, but McGowan with a tremendous year.
Here's Taylor, and his throw. The pass is complete to Todd Milliken. And Nebraska is near the 50-yard line. A gain of 20 yards on the play. They'll mark it the 49. And it's a first down for the Cornhuskers.
Milliken, they really use 2 tight ends. They use Milliken and Banderas. Milliken, the better receiver of the group. Taylor with the rollout, and Milliken finding a hole in the middle of the zone. Big play for Nebraska at the 49-yard line.
Taylor on the option. And he will go for 2, maybe 3 yards. They'll mark it out on the far side.
From the other side, Charlie, take a look at it now. Taylor hangs on to the football. Option quarterbacks have to have it out in front of him to get ready for the pitch, but watch what happens at the end of this play. He's not tucking the ball away. He's got to get it back in right now because, boom, it pops out. Yeah. Very easy to fumble the football as an option quarterback. You have to keep it out in front of you.
47-yard line of Florida State. A gain of 4, so it is second down and 6. To the 43. So it's going to be third down and still a couple to go for the first down. Nebraska with the ball, leading by 4, 28-24.
You know, we talked about the I-backs in Nebraska, about 7 yards deep in the backfield. That works when you're running this power I in college. You're able to see the blocks in front of you. But when you go to the pro ranks, you think about the great I-back Nebraska have had. I am hip, Jarvis Redwine. They usually do not do well in the pro rank. That's because they're 3 yards closer to the line of scrimmage. Mike Rozier, now he's made it, but it's taken him quite a while to develop. He may have been the best of them all.
On third down, Tyrese Knox gets the call. And we may have a measurement here. We talked about a couple of the officials in the ballgame. We might give a rundown of all the officials. Wendell Shelton, the umpire is Joe Darden. We talked about Buddy Coleman. Roger Rogers is the line judge. Bo Hicks, Tim Millis, and Ron Murphy. They've done a very good. They've really done a good job. Very quiet, as well as Shelton told us yesterday. He'd like to do the game, walk away. Nobody even know the officials were involved. There have been a lot of flags. Now with the measurement. First down.
When you think about this offense in Nebraska, though, Charlie, you do think about those great I-backs.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of them.
Why is it such a difference? Why does 3 or 4 yards? Why does it make that much of a difference?
Because you got to make a.
By the way, let me stop you. Don't forget the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all. USC and Michigan State. And that'll be right after our ball game. We'll be going right there. We'll get back to that. Yeah, notice here, perfect example. How far back the I-back is. He doesn't carry here, but he's really back along. Like a high roll, you should know. And he goes to the 36-yard line. Now, Go ahead, Mr. Cevalo.
It's a big adjustment because you have not only 3 yards less to look at the blocking in front of you, you have a lot less time to develop the blocking in front of you. Conversely, look at the fullbacks Nebraska's had who have been successful in the pros. Andre Franklin with the Dolphins before that knee injury, he was on his way to quite a career. And Tom Rathman now with the 49ers is having quite a career. They're closer to the line of scrimmage. The adjustment time is great.
2nd and 5. Taylor may pick up the first down here. He needs to go to the 31-yard line. It looks as if he has that. And he does. Steve Taylor with 16 carries, and he has scored the touchdown.
You see his numbers on the day, Charlie. We mentioned earlier a year ago when they played against Florida State, he had 140 yards rushing. So Florida State has been able to keep him from carrying the football, making him pitch it. However, they have not stopped Nebraska from scoring 28 points.
Danny McManus on the sidelines, the quarterback of Florida State. Tyrese Knox. 2nd down and 8. Now Nebraska beginning to chip away at the clock. We're moving on the 9-minute mark, time remaining in the ballgame.
Well, that's what they do best, Charlie. They run the option. They run that power sweep. They'll do it all day long until Florida State forces them to get out of it. And under the circumstances, with 8:55 left and up by 4 points, there's no need for Tom Osborne to go back to some of those gimmicks as he tried earlier on with the Statue of Liberty and that pass play off of the wishbone formation, which they don't normally use.
Prince in the motion man. Steve Taylor pulled down inside the 20-yard line, but not before he picks up the first down. Dedrick Dodge with the tackle.
And they picked the perfect time to run this quarterback draw, Charlie. Florida State had the blitz going, and Taylor came right up inside of it. He didn't drop it 2 or 3 yards back.
And the clock continues to move. Now 8:27. And a first down at the Florida State 19-yard line.
There's the wishbone.
Has a man all alone on the right side to throw to, but instead he decides to run to the 15 and is out of bounds after a gain of 9 yards. But he had a receiver wide open on the right side.
You remember when they hit the tight end over the middle of the field earlier on, the first pass that Taylor completed on the day? That's exactly what they ran. This is the wishbone. They don't normally have it. It's confusing Florida State's defense. He fakes the crossbuck action. Now look at the receiver in the corner of the end zone. That's Banderas. He is wide open, but Taylor decides to run it instead and picks up some good yardage.
Keith Jones was also open in the short flat on the right side. And it's 2nd down and 1. Taylor has rushed now for 68 yards. Tyrese Knox. He picks up the first down. 7-yard line. It's going to be first down and goal to go for Nebraska.
Robbie Bowden is going to have to do some gambling on defense down here, Charlie. At the 7-yard line, down by 4 points. They score and go in with 8 minutes left in the contest, and he's going to have his hands full. They've got to do some blitzing down here, some stunning by the defensive line to try to stop this power running game in Nebraska.
First and goal at the 7. And Taylor cuts to the 3. 2nd down, goal to go. Anthony Moss and Eric Hayes with the tackle for Florida State.
Here's Taylor on that option. And once again, it's the block by Heibel, number 48, that set that up for him. Heibel is one of the underrated members of this Nebraska team. He's the key to their offense because he's got to be able to block, to run the option, and to run the power sweep. He does it very well.
They mark at the 2-yard line where it's 2nd down and goal to go.
Fumble.
Knox fumbles the ball, and Florida State has it. Eric Hayes has the fumble recovery.
A Well, that's what Bobby Bowden's defense had to do. They had to gamble a little bit, send a couple of people to stop that running attack. They picked the right hole this time to send the blitzing linebacker, and Knox unable to hang on to it.
For the Seminoles, 2 fumble recoveries and an interception. They've got the ball, and we'll be back. Nebraska just had the ball for 14 plays. They moved 72 yards, and then they turned it over. Here's McManus from the end zone, and it is incomplete to Ronald Lewis. It'll be 2nd down and 10 at the 3-yard line.
Let's go back, Johnny, and look at the fumble. Tyrese Knox coughs it up down in close. Haggins, number 53, he's the nose tackle. See him get underneath the center. He causes all that trouble in there. They've got all the force coming up. And Tyrese Knox was not able to jump over the pile. Young was forced back into the backfield. That prevented him from jumping, and that's why he lost the ball.
Terry Anthony checks into the offensive set. He's a late arrival. There's Eric Hayes. And Tyrese Knox, the man who fumbled. 2nd and 10. Pass complete at the 11-yard line to Terry Anthony. And he's brought down by Leroy Etienne.
Anthony, however, will not have enough yardage for the 1st down. Dangerous. McManus throwing from deep within his own end zone. 7-step drop. That's very dangerous from in tight. But nice catch by Anthony. However, though, he comes up about 2 yards short of the 1st down.
3rd down 3. Why is it dangerous to drop back that far?
Well, if you're going against Nebraska, it's because they've got that very strong rush. Now, he's not been sacked often, but you usually go with a 3-step drop that deep in the end zone.
Complete 1st down. Ronald Lewis at the 19. Gain of 9.
All right, let's take a look at it once again. Let's see his drop this time. Is he into the end zone? Yeah. Well, right at the corner of it, but he's got so much presence there inside of the defensive end and over the linebacker in front of Jackson, number 4. And I'll tell you, Danny McManus can play football. He can be a National Football League player. He's only 6'1". They say that's the knock, but
he can still do it. Yeah. 5 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in the game. It is deep, tip, almost intercepted. Tim Jackson with the play. Sammy Smith, the intended receiver. It'll be 2nd down and 10 back at the 19-yard line. The crowd here today at the 17th edition of the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl enjoying this play.
Sammy Smith doesn't look back to the quarterback. Watch him. He's running down the field. Now he looks back around for it. And as a result, Jackson almost comes in and sneaks back and grabs the football. Sometimes if you're a receiver and you're not going to be able to catch it, you've got to go up and play defensive back. Smith did not do it that time.
The crowd here, the 3rd largest in Sunkist Fiesta Bowl history, 72,112. McManus with a screen. Dexter Carter. Carter to the 30, comes down at the 34, has the 1st down.
In order for a screen to be successful, you've got to have someone who can be an actor. Dexter Carter, this play, watch how he acts. Now, okay, now that big fool there, now I'm going to sit here for a while. I'm not going to, and now he sneaks back out and catches the football. That's some great acting ability. And he actually gets knocked down by Jason Kuipers, number 62, his own guard.
The right tackle for Florida State. You've seen him a couple of times in replay. He's the big man, Pat Tomberlin. Bobby Bowden says he weighs 300 pounds. He said that's round numbers because he's the round man. He's on the right side. See? Right there. It's complete. Terry Anthony. 45-yard line of Nebraska, 20 yards. Hicks and Fryer with the tackle.
And Florida State has taken Gaynor out of the contest. Herb Anthony in to replace him. Remember, Gaynor dropped 2 passes earlier on that he should have come up with. But Terry Anthony proving to be quite a replacement.
Jeff Mills now in at defensive left end for Broderick Thomas. McManus 25 of 48, 314 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Most attempts any game this year. He's on target. Carter, he'll score. Yes, you gotta love it. No, they're going to say he stepped out at the 2. You don't have to love it so much.
Well, that official did put his arms up in a touchdown, then changed his mind right at the last second.
Tim Jackson and Jeff Jamrock were there for the defense. They're going to mark at the 2-yard line.
That play is completely on Danny McManus. He had a receiver down the sideline who curled inside. McManus looked at him. There he is to the left of your screen, and that allowed Dexter Carter to sneak by the defense. Now let's see where he does step out. Yeah, he sure does. And there's the official, goes up with his arms first, and then comes back in. Let's see where he goes out. Right. Oh, yeah, no question about that. Well, I don't know, Charlie. He looked like he got in.
Football broke the play, and he was still airborne.
He sure was.
First down, goal to go. Not there. Good defensive play. That's Charles Fryer. And you look, of course, for 34 wham. The power run by Dane Williams.
And that is it. However, what a hit by the part of the defense that did not work that time. Just a second time all season long that play, 34 wham, does not work for Florida State.
Loses a yard to the 3. Second down, goal to go.
Let's try it on the right side this time.
Here's Carter. He's not going to make it. Now the margin is 4 points. A field goal doesn't help you here. 4 minutes and 5 seconds left. Leroy Etienne along with Tim Rother.
They were set up for the wham, Charlie, for the second time in a row. They went away from it, thinking that Nebraska, looking at the films, knowing how successful it is. And we've got a flag.
And we've got a penalty against Florida State. And that will be only their second penalty in the ballgame.
Oh, there's the kick. That's why the call is. Yeah, Dexter Carter.
Dead ball, personal foul, offense.
And Nebraska has only been penalized 3 times. He didn't see it underneath, but it was a good call with the officials. So the ball comes out to the 18-yard line. And it's a dead ball foul, so it'll be third down. Dead ball foul after the play.
Hey, Charlie, that is the biggest play of the football game thus far. Dead ball fall on the part of Dexter Carter. You have a shot at 3rd and 3. 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line. Now they've got to come up with a play from the 18.
3rd and goal from the 18, and Florida State wants a timeout. We have 3:51 left in the game, and Nebraska leads by 4, 28-24.
What it means to you.
Teams warming up. Michigan State, the Big Ten champs, absent for 22 years and led by All-America Lorenzo White against the Southern California Trojans, spurred by junior quarterback Rodney Peete. USC a slight favorite. Big Ten figures Michigan State will end the drought today. The Rose Bowl to follow. Now back to the Fiesta.
3:51 left to go. Florida State 24, Nebraska 28. Nebraska led 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. Florida State led at halftime 21-14. After 3, Nebraska 28, Florida State 24.
Charlie, Florida State now, Bobby Bowden discussing on the sideline 2 plays. It's 3rd down and 18 yards to go. It's actually goal to goal. He's got 2 plays to come up with because actually he's not going to kick a field goal whether or not he's successful on the first play or not. They're down by 4 points with just 3:51 left to go in the contest. They've got to come up with 2 plays because they can use both plays to get into the end zone.
Third and goal at the 18. It's a screen. Pat Carter went up for it and pulled it down at the 15-yard line. It'll be 4th down and goal to go at the 15. And Broderick Thomas back in the ball game makes the stop. McManus has set a Fiesta Bowl passing record of 357 yards. Does that still stand? 357? The old record was 347. Fourth and goal. End zone, touchdown. extra point attempt is good. The reaction of Tom Osborne of Nebraska. 31-28, Florida State.
Oh, I wouldn't exactly say nothing.
On 4th and goal from the 15-yard line, the zone by Nebraska, but McManus finds the receiver, Ronald Lewis, inside. There's no safety in the middle of the field, number 47. That's 18. He's a linebacker. Nebraska, a mistake on the coverage, but Bobby Bowden will take it.
Lewis, 4 receptions, 62 yards, and a touchdown. McManus now 28 of 51, 375 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's a new Fiesta Bowl record. The other one was set 17 years ago by Gary Huff with 347. He played for Florida State. It's Super Bowl I. Super Bowl I, Fiesta Bowl I. Britson will down it in the end zone. Did I say Super Bowl I? I did, didn't I? I really got excited.
The other unusual thing is you'd say, look at the Florida State people are thrilled. He's thrown 51 times today. The highest amount of passes he's thrown this season was 34 coming into today's contest.
All right, let's see what Nebraska can do. 3 minutes and 7 seconds.
Charlie coming back again. They like the option in the power sweep. They can still go to it. 3:07's plenty of time. They've got 3 timeouts remaining.
Taylor with time. Pass is complete. Gregory caught it. They're going to place the ball on the 20-yard line, so that'll be a first down. Deion Sanders with the you don't throw at Sanders that much. I'm surprised that they're going at his side because he's such a good cover man.
He's the best cover man in college football today. He's a very lonely man over on that corner because they simply want to throw to the other side. He's that good of a man-to-man coverage back.
One of 3 candidates for the Jim Thorpe Award that will be decided later this month. Taylor over the middle. Pass is complete. Todd Milliken. And the Cornhuskers are on the move.
They sure are, Charlie, and they are in a position to go to what they do well. I mean, nobody's going to complain about Taylor throwing the football. He's done it well in the last 2 plays, but if Coach Osborne decides to go back to the running attack with 2:47 and 3 timeouts, he can. They only need a field goal to tie this game up.
First down at the 42. Flag is down. Another flag is down. Pass is complete. Gregory down the sideline. 20, 10. Bumped out of bounds inside the 5, but there were 2 flags. It goes to the 2. If it holds. 55 yards.
And the problem is Nebraska didn't have enough people on the line of scrimmage.
They'll bring it back.
In fact, I think it's Morgan Gregory, the outside receiver, who did not get up on the football, and the official threw the flag immediately.
We have illegal formation by the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
A 5-yard penalty. In reality, a 60-yard penalty.
That's right. The receiver's got to be on the line of scrimmage. He was on the split side of the field. He was actually not covering up the inside tackle. It's an illegal formation.
First down and 15. Taylor has completed 5 of 9. He's thrown for 113 yards. And if he's throwing here, there's pressure. He gets it off. It is tipped. It is incomplete. Thomas Harp was there for the Seminoles. It'll be second down and 15. What a ball game. It's really been a great ball game. And we have 2 more in store for you as we go on to the Rose Bowl and then to the Orange Bowl.
Thomas Harp, number 58, coming out holding it looked like his hamstring.
Until that miss, Taylor had 4 completions in a row. Tom Osborne, the head coach of Nebraska. And Bobby Bowden, the head coach of Florida State.
And he's taken off the headsets. He's going to watch this one.
Keith Jones. 41-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 10. We've got a timeout. Florida State leads it 31-28.
GM meet.
Two minutes and 10 seconds. The two most interested spectators are Bobby Bowden and Tom Osborne. 3rd down and 10. Push down. Gregory has it at the 42-yard line of Florida State. 18 yards. Eric Williams with the tackle.
And Osborne is trying to get them up to the line of scrimmage as quickly as possible. And they're coming out of huddle right now. Here's a look at it, the little rollout on the part of Taylor. And Gregory, the one who made the mistake being on the wrong position, not on the line of scrimmage earlier, comes back and makes the big 1st down.
Taylor's in trouble. He's throwing this one away. Yes.
And now the people on the Florida State, they're saying, wait a minute, where?
They dropped. There's a flag. They dropped it. They dropped it. Yes, yes. I mean, he was trying to reach about the 8th row. Didn't quite make it. Don't do that.
He's normally such a quiet man on the sideline. What a quiet demeanor.
Intentional grounding of the ball by the offense. Loss of down. It'll be 2nd down.
If you can compare the two coaches, Osborne reminds me a little of Raymond Berry, such a quiet young man. And, of course, Bobby Bowden, he's like Hank Strambo's on the sideline. He's the general. He's ready to do business. He talks to everybody.
The ball at the 34-yard line. It's there, tip. Had a man in between, and he tried, and ever so close to then being intercepted. And they're going after Deion Sanders, and he makes the play.
Right, they try to fit it in between Deion Sanders, number 2, the cornerback, and Leroy Butler, number 6, the safety. So he turns him loose. Sanders turns him loose to the 2nd man, but he's got such incredible makeup speed, he's able to come back and knock that ball away. That's not his play. That's the play of Leroy Butler, number 6. But Sanders has the best makeup speed of any defensive back I have seen playing in college football today.
3rd and 25. 1:43 left. Great composure. Now he throws, and his receiver fell down. Nebraska wants pass interference. Henley Hawkins was down around the 30-yard line.
We have an illegal forward pass.
He was past the line of scrimmage.
He trips himself, though. He kicked himself with his back foot.
Penalty and loss of down.
He's doing business. He's
involved. 5-yard penalty on the loss of down. He was past the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. We've got a timeout with 1:33 left. Florida State leading by 3, 31-28. We'll be back in a moment.
Grown up.
With 1 minute and 33 seconds left, it is 4th down and 43 for the game.
Right, the coaching staff of Florida State are telling their players, you stand back there about 20 yards, they don't let anybody throw the ball behind you. And I tell you, if they complete this pass, Bobby Bowden will quit coaching at Florida State. They've got somebody very deep in the middle of the field.
And Deion Sanders, to the wide side of the field, is the deep man. He just drops it off. Heibel to the 40, the 43-yard line, way short of what he needed for the 1st down. And Florida State will take over on downs, needing now only to run 1 minute and 19 seconds off of the clock.
I tell you, Charlie, I think Odell Hagen should have second thoughts about not playing that nose tackle position anymore. He was all over Steve Taylor with a good rush. Now we've got a flag down on the field.
Yes, we do. We've got a flag at the 37-yard line.
We have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct foul against the defense.
Unsportsmanlike conduct called against Nebraska. He pointed to Nebraska, but he said defense.
Well, because it was a dead ball fall, technically
foul.
they'd
already taken over defense. That's what it was. So it's against Nebraska. So the ball is at the 27-yard line of Nebraska. First down for Florida State, leading 31-28. They trailed after the first quarter, 14-0. Led at halftime, 21-14. Trailed after 3, 28-24. And McManus will just slide down. And we'll have a flag. Now there's a reason for that flag, and that is with a personal foul by Nebraska just a moment ago. They don't want to stop. They stop it right now. And the officials not going to let the last minute and 13 seconds of this game get away. I like that kind of a call.
Offense.
Well, it's against the offense.
Now he made a mistake on this. That is against Nebraska. It seemed like McManus was down and somebody came in with a helmet.
It's against Nebraska. And they'll take it down to the 18-yard line. Florida State with a timeout remaining. Nebraska with 2. Moving on the 1-minute mark, time remaining.
And Florida State really does not have to. Nebraska with just 2 timeouts left. Florida State could just sit on the football.
5 seconds on the 25-second clock. Bennett. Edgar Bennett to the 10.
Edgar Bennett.
And Charlie, I think it's an unnecessary handoff at this juncture. Clock running down, just take it, sit back now, let Nebraska use the remaining timeouts, and the football game is over. And why is Nebraska not calling timeout? Are our statistics incorrect? Do they still have 2 timeouts? According to the scoreboard, they do. This is shocking.
I am amazed. As the countdown just continues.
See, even though they couldn't stop it toward the end of the game, you never know if somebody's going to trip or slip or fall down. I think you use your timeouts. I'm very surprised by that.
So we come to a close of the 17th edition of the Fiesta Bowl. The Budweiser outstanding players of today's game: for Florida State, number 14, Danny McManus, who sets a Fiesta Bowl record of 375 yards. And for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Leroy Etienne with an outstanding defensive effort. And Budweiser will donate a total of $2,000 to the General Scholarship Funds of Nebraska and of Florida State. The final score once again at the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl: Florida State 31, Nebraska 28. For Jimmy Cefalo, I'm Charlie Jones. Happy New Year's, everybody, and a special thanks to Fiesta Bowl President Alex Crutchfield, Associate Executive Director John Junker, Executive Director Bruce Skinner. 31-28, Florida State wins it. So long, everybody.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC. Happy holidays from all of us at WAFF 48.
Tremendous game you just saw here on NBC. Florida State defeating Nebraska 31-28 in the Fiesta Bowl. Of course, tonight, the Orange Bowl in Miami, the national title on the line when Oklahoma takes on Miami. Coming up next, though, the veteran of bowl games, the Rose Bowl. USC trying to uphold the recent dominance of the Pac-10. Michigan State ending a Rose Bowl drought that dates back to the mid-60s. Let's go to Pasadena.
A warm California sun